One of us climbed a mountain and the other just fell off a cliff. We're talking about a massive 34-point fantasy draft swing that has officially turned our brotherhood into a battlefield. But that's not all. Rockstar might be killing the physical disc with the digital-only GTA 6 launch, and Sony is finally breaking their silence with a massive state of play leak. Is Wolverine finally coming? We are on the eve of Dragon Quest VII early access, and Highguard swings for redemption with all of us. We're getting into that and so much more. That's Nick and Dave. I'm Chris, and this is Grind and Game. Let's start the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 6 of Grind and Game. I'm Chris. That's Nick and Dave. We got a bunch to talk about today. So, without further ado, Nick, my brother, how you been, man?
I've been good, man, and I could tell you I'm feeling really good here. It's been a month, starting off the week strong, a good Monday. Was motivated today. Just in a good mood and making lasagna upstairs now, so looking forward to that before we get into the gaming. First lasagna attempt, and it's a mix of venison and sausage. So we'll see how it turns out, but I'm looking forward to it.
So homemade lasagna. Nice. All right,
yes,
man.
sir.
Look at you.
Yes,
Starting the Monday right.
I'm telling you, I'm feeling good, and I'll let everybody talk about how they're feeling before I get into it. But there's a reason to celebrate today, gentlemen.
Oh. For one of us. Dave, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, boys. I'm over here. Just got started on a little bit of a mixed drink, and I know at the time of us recording right now it's a Monday, and I know I'm not a big drinker these days, but just me and my wife, we're just trying to relax a little bit this evening. We've been getting into some older games, some Resident Evil, which we'll talk about later, and we just had the thought of, why don't we have a drink tonight and relax. I knew I was coming on the podcast, and so hopefully I can keep my wits about me and cover all these games. I'll be drinking slow until later. But maybe our audience is going to see who I really am tonight. We'll find out.
The subscribers triple as Dave goes to a deep discussion of why Halo should be every game ever.
Yeah. I'm getting a Halo tattoo tomorrow.
Just straight across the back. Every line Chiefs ever said, just written down. I'm doing good myself. Oh, thank you. I'm doing good. I had my first day off and probably a solid full day off. No phone calls from work or anything after like 16 days straight. So it was nice, relaxing. Didn't fall on the ice finally. So, I set the world record over here in my side of town of how many people can fall on the ice because I don't learn my lessons. But that last one I was telling you guys about last night when we were, hopping on the Highguard was I slipped, slung that head back, and left just a perfect circle in the ice. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stop trying to skate on this with tennis shoes. But other than that, we're doing good. The wife was off as well, so we got to have a nice chill day and just reset, and got a bunch of chores tomorrow, but I'm off again, which is nice. But man, doing good. Got a little bit of gaming in that we'll talk about. My heart's shattered right now as the early review scores for Dragon Quest VII are coming in, and they're not what I was hoping, but I still cannot wait to hop into that. As everyone knows, we record on Mondays, so we're on Dragon Quest VII Eve, and we'll touch in that a little bit when we hit into our news stories. But yeah, Nick, you kind of alluded to it a little bit at the top of the show. You're sitting a little pretty. Cairn came out. It kind of smacked me up a little bit. It scored, I can't remember the exact Metacritic. 84 on Metacritic, we got you a cool 17 points. And gave me a big fat negative 17 points. So with Mio doing as good as it did, Cairn doing as good as it did, and me counterpicking the wrong game, I'm getting our draft has shifted. But Nick, I know none of us really jumped into Cairn. I don't know if you've looked anything up, but seeing as this is your victory lap to start our draft off and taking an early lead, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'll start with this, right? Like we talked during this draft, and there was a part of you that almost clicked that Star Wars Galactic Racer, and I'm sure that part of you now is screaming that it should have happened. No, look, guys, honestly, Cairn was a decision for me to where luckily it worked out, right? I mean, I saw it and I could see that something like this would appeal specifically and heavily to the people that are going to play it, right? The people that play survival games, and I like survival games too, but they get into them, right? You talk about Valheim, Minecraft, these games that come out, they're all huge scores if they do it right because people just love it. They get immersed in the world. What I saw with Cairn was one, that type of movement, which we talked about in the last episode, is so unique, right? It's challenging, right? It adds a different layer to that survival game where people really got to pick their next choice. They get frustrated, and we talked about that satisfaction you guys get with the big boss battle, and yes, you fail a bunch of times, but then you finally get it, and I could see that maybe this game would have that, and luckily, as the score shows for the people that played it, it did, and you saw that in the reviews, right? They talked about they'd have to put the controller down or they'd get frustrated. But then when they got to the next summit, they got to the next area, it was satisfaction. They got immersed in the story. So luckily they did really good with the story from what people have said. I have not played it. Like I said, it's not a game for me. There's too many other games that I'm super interested in this year. And other games that I picked up, which we will talk about. But I just think it hit all the right things, and it could have easily failed. So it was a smart counter pick. It just happened to land, I think, at the right time and resonated with the right people.
No, you hit it right on the head. I after that score came out, I really started thinking about it. And you know how you said it was a panic pick for you? It was a panic counter pick for me, and I felt you're right. I thought about the Star Wars. I thought about some of the other ones I thought might not come out. But then I really realized you're right. The people that will review this are people that play these kind of games, and I got to remember that. And that's a good learning experience for our first draft. Is like that's why I thought I would be so safe with this Dragon Quest VII Reimagined as my flex pick. But it's seeming like people are a little critiquing a little bit more than I thought they would. When I think it's like I'll go into it when we jump into the news stories about it. But yeah, I mean, I think you just were smart with your pick, man. You leaned into that, and it's exactly as you stated with all the reviews I read. It's people that wanted to play this. They were excited about it. And yes, it was really, punishing, but they kind of enjoyed that punishment, just like when Dave and I were playing Mio this past couple weeks. It punishes you, but we enjoyed it when we overcame said challenge. And before I jump into our warm-up question, Dave, anything on Cairn or any of the reviews you've been reading or anything, and how Nick has ruined my draft for a little bit?
Well, I wanted to get hands on a little bit of every game that was drafted, just so I could really add to the discussions. But like we talked about, I think last episode, that this one I've been primarily an Xbox guy, and having kids in the house, we're all trying to save money where we can, and so they didn't release for Xbox, so. This game, I'm kind of just sitting on the sidelines. I've got a gaming laptop, but for me to go and purchase this game just to try it, I'm not going to do it. But one thought I did have with this draft, for people listening, are they able to go in on FantastyCritic if they search up our podcast and kind of see the layout of the games we drafted, so that people can kind of get involved and just follow along with us throughout the year? That might be something good.
Yes, I did make our draft public, so I'll figure out what that link is. I'll send it over to you. Yeah, that's a great point. We'll add that to our description of our video so people can follow along with us.
I can copy the league ID and I'll put it in the description of this video.
Awesome. I know that's a quick behind the scenes thing for people listening at home, but I think that'd be cool. If they want to see what's coming up, see what we drafted. Let us know in the comments if we're fools. I drafted Star Wars Galactic Racer. We'll see what happens with that, or a game like Mixtape that's coming. But like like you guys both touched on, the people that love these kind of games are going to be the ones reviewing them. Like I'm not reviewing a game like Mixtape, so we'll see, what it ends up
You're gonna be
getting overall. But
It
I
looks
think
like
that
I'm going to be reviewing Mixtape with how these
Yeah,
scores are running now.
yeah, that is true.
yeah.
I get to
But
spend
no,
my
that's-
Christmas playing Mixtape and crying
Yeah.
because it's probably actually going to touch my heart, and I'll be like, "Yeah, it's so good, guys."
So
we're all
Sorry,
going
Dave, I
to be
didn't mean
on
to cut you off.
No, it's a good point. We're all going to be like on GTA 6 or something, and we'll be texting you like, "Hey, how's Mixtape going?"
Like, it's great. I just got broken up with a third time. But that's it leads right into our warm-up question, boys. Like I stated, Nick just banked 17 points on a game where you literally just climb rocks. Is Cairn a masterpiece of this Zen sim design, or are critics in 2026 just so burnt out on shooters and battle passes they'll apparently give anything a 9 out of 10, and for all these different reasons? How are you guys feeling about that? And
I feel like that question was written by somebody that got negative 17 points on Cairn.
It's by user Chris was robbed 2026. Okay, that's a good guy.
No,
Yeah,
dude. I mean, I honestly think like what I said, man. I just think that it's a different type of spin on this survival, and people that played it liked it. And I do think, though, a part of what you said does play into it. Like, look, you're not getting the battle pass. It's not a big multiplayer experience. It's not pay to win. It's not cosmetics, at least as far as I know. So it's just this kind of this experience for people, right? They just go into it. They get to do it. They have a challenge. I don't know the length of the game, but it doesn't seem that long from how quick those reviews were coming out day one. So people probably enjoyed a break from a lot of these longer form games or a lot of these stressful games sometimes, which is what it turns into. I know myself on some multiplayer games, and this is something where they probably put on a headset and chilled that evening and played it and just didn't expect to get so involved with it and enjoyed it.
I don't believe it. Dave?
No, I think from some of the data we've gathered from doing this podcast, putting videos out there, seeing people engage in the comments, gamers are really split into two camps right now. There's the people that will not stop playing these big titles. I still have friends, they're in their 30s, and they will still, I'm in a group chat where they're still texting to hop on Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone, and I think I've more so gotten out of that camp where I've switched to like, let me dive into a Mio, or let me dive into these new mysterious titles that I'm not jumping in Cairn or Mixtape, or I'm not that far yet, but people are craving. There's a lot of people craving something different, like you touched on. That was a great point. Everyone's doing this copy and paste, season 1, season 2, battle pass, the drip feed of content that we've talked about. And I think people are sick of it. They just want to buy a game where it's complete, maybe a DLC pack down the road, but not like, oh, I'm going out of town for 2 weeks and I'm going to fall so far behind in Warzone or something because there's a new gun and now everyone is unlocking. It starts to, some of these games turn into a job, and I'm not surprised that a game like that scored higher. We've talked about a lot of games that are not for us necessarily, but they are for somebody. And there's someone that's putting in 40 hours a week or more, and they just want to get home, play something relaxing where maybe there's a slight challenge. If they make a mistake, it's on them. Like with a game like Mio, if I made a mistake, I'm not pissed off. I'm not thinking like, oh, this guy just spent more time playing than me. I'm like, no, it's I can figure out this challenge. I can get past it. So I think, I don't know if those thoughts kind of make sense to you guys, but that's where I feel like I kind of see gaming as a culture right now. There's, and maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe the younger crowd, the high school age to college, 20-year-olds, they're more of the Warzone type community, where they want the battle pass and all that. But there's plenty of us that are just wanting to pick up something new, play a game in 40 hours or less or so, and then pick up a new title. So
Well, I mean, I think you would be a case study for that, right? Because from what Nick told me, this podcast kind of reignited that single player gamer in you. And which is, I was in the same boat for a little bit. Like I would just playing like Diablo 4 and then I would say what really reignited me was just, I can't remember exactly what game it was. Oh, actually, I know it was. It was Baldur's Gate 3, which kind of reignited that passion in me again, because leading up to that was the same thing, just hopping from multiplayer game to multiplayer game. But then after Baldur's Gate, I was just hooked. And we were saying like, because I called him real quick on the way to work because I had to ask him something. But then I was like, he was talking about, dude, the best part about this podcast is it's reignited Dave's love for single player gaming. And I think that's awesome.
Oh, it's true. I could touch more on that. I used to be all about it. We talked about our gaming history on a previous show, and I used to play like everything, thinking about coming up through high school and stuff. And then something with the military, we've talked about it before. We'd go on a deployment, and then I come back and I ask the guys, like, what's everybody playing? And it would be, at one point there was PUBG, where these battle royales hit. And they were so good, it sucked everybody in. I remember coming back from one deployment and everyone was on Apex Legends. And I pretty much just played Apex Legends for like a year straight. It was just so fun and we got so good at it. And then, but then I missed like a lot of big titles because of that. Because like I said, some of these games turn into a job where it's like, oh, I gotta, season 2 of Apex is out. I gotta play, I gotta unlock this stuff. And it kind of, I feel like in the long run, it's not good for your mental health. I feel like it is better. I know we're going to touch on Resident Evil in a little bit, but this is an old game from 2009 on the 360. And both me and my wife are just like, I finally feel relaxed playing a game because, of course I love Battlefield. You guys know I love to tear it up out there, but you feel a little bit of stress while you're playing because everybody has gotten so good, or maybe we're just getting worse, and you feel like you just have to keep up with it. You have to unlock the latest stuff. And I'm definitely glad that I've made this shift, just exploring some older titles, diving into more RPGs. I think it's better for people, better for their mental health.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I really do love hearing that because, I can relate to it a lot. And just so everyone knows, if anyone that's listened to our other episodes, I'm not saying, because I know I've said it before, I was the single player guy. I never got into multiplayer until recently. No, what I'm stating is like those action RPGs were kind of my focus for a bit because it was so busy at work and just jumping straight into things. And I would hit the occasional, like a Hades, which kind of reignited my gaming for a little bit there. But I still feel like a roguelite kind of falls in that same pocket a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, like after playing something like, straight from Diablo 4, which is just high paced, kind of mindless, to your point, a little bit different than a Battlefield where you're getting pissed at other people unless you jump into PvP. But to your point, once you get into those single player things, and we all play like a single player game, like I go back to Baldur's Gate 3 because it's like we could all play that and have different stories and have those water cooler moments. And that's what gets me excited about like games coming up like Crimson Desert and Fable and things like that. And I can't remember off the top of my head, like that new Scrolls like that's coming out. I can't remember the name of it. So, but what's cool about those games and why people like got drawn to like the Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild, it kind of falls that same category. It's like, hey, did you do this? Oh no, you haven't even gotten there yet, or you've beaten it and didn't even see this whole section of the map and this whole quest line. So, and again, I think that's where the single player game becomes really social, but we get to explore a little bit more of it. But I think unfortunately we're in an industry point now where these live service will always be chased after the big heads, the big wigs, because they know it's the money makers. You know what I mean? I guarantee you that, and I'm sure this isn't a crazy take, but like a Fortnite, like just the skins alone make more money than a single player game will ever make. Like I can't remember what I read where he's like, yeah, why is your model better than ours? He's like, because I can make this t-shirt red and sell it for $10 a pop and everyone will buy it. and you have to make a whole new game. So I don't
Right.
want that to be the reality, and I hope they keep making these single player games. Hopefully this means those live services are successful so we continue to get these great experiences, but we'll see how those things play out. And before we jump into what we've been playing, I know I'm a little sad about my -17, but it goes right back to what I was saying about Mio, and Mio kind of made me regret my choice of Cairn, as I kind of alluded to last episode. Was these artsy games that are designed for certain individuals, a Metroidvania like Mio, people that were reviewed it, play Metroidvanias, play side scrollers, and um that's why it got a great review like it did, and it got scrutinized the way it did. Just like Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is currently getting a little scrutinized in certain things because it's the people that love and play those JRPGs, pick it apart a little bit. And Cairn example, I guess the good really outweighed any of the bad in the sense of what these individuals that played it were looking for. So I totally get it, and you're right. I mean, everything is kind of cut and paste with battle passes and things like that. So it is. I think like the zeitgeist in itself is shifting a bit, but I think it's shifting in the older audiences like us. And by older, I mean probably like 27 to upper 30s, you know what I mean? And 30s and going up. And I think the younger kids with like the mobile gaming and things like that is kind of what's fueling what the industry is chasing, because they need to gear to them as well. But that's a discussion for a different time that we could spend probably a couple hours on realistically. So
Yeah,
I also have
that'd
a
be a
thought
future
too.
episode.
I have a thought too, and it just came to me, but and I wonder is, I liked how on the draft there's a lot of new gaming franchises, and I think too the benefit of those is people are going into them without those expectations, right? Like you said, the Dragon Quest, people have played, so many of them, right? They have an expectation of what they want that game to be. They want the lore to be right. They don't want you to mess up about certain characters and things like that. So I think that the new gaming franchises have an ability to either be really good, or if it's just a bad game, be really bad, because people are just going into it like, what is this? Right. But when like, let's say when Fallout 5 drops, there's certain things I want there to be in Fallout 5, and whether the gameplay is fantastic or not, if they don't follow certain things, it's ultimately not going to be a good game for me, because I'm going to be like, even if the gameplay is great, you're ruining something about this franchise I really enjoy. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
well, baked in lore and everything, you're correct, and that's the thing about being a new gaming franchise. Yeah, you lose the nostalgia aspect of it and the built-in hype, but then you, like a Expedition 33, you get to come in with something brand new with your own take on old gaming not franchise, but style of game, like a JRPG, and be like, hey, we're gonna put our own twist on it. And there's no pre-existing story. We get to make our own story, and, as crazy and cool as we want it to be, and it's up to you to decipher it. And we all, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to tackle the aspect of grief with this crazy world we're building, and into a format that's been around since the beginning of a turn-based, at the core of it, turn-based RPG. So, no, I mean, to y'all's points, I think that's exactly what it is. I think when you deliver something like a Cairn or a Mio, or, and we'll see what comes up, but then it goes back to like a Resident Evil Requiem. Everyone's amped up for that built-in existing what Resident Evil is, and Dave will touch on that a bit with what he's been playing recently. But I just love gaming. There's so much to talk about with it, right?
I know.
No matter what aspect of we're tackling this thing. But without further ado, boys, we have a little bit explaining to do, because we played a certain game that, I think rightfully gave a little bit of the business to with its 3v3 mode. And that game we're talking about is Highguard. And what we did last night is, along with Dave's wife, Lauren, we hopped into 5v5 to try to do a little, let's see what the devs have been doing. They put in the work to add in a little thing, clean up latency and all that good stuff. And I'll go ahead and start off. I had a lot of fun. We all kind of had a lot of fun. It was funny when Dave just said, when people get pissed with Nick, like in one of the matches when we were getting lit up, he's like, am I just this bad? And I love how in any shooter, we all say the same thing. It's like, how did you kill me with the same exact gun so much better than I could have killed you? But, like I say, the gunplay is snappy. It feels good, but and I think we all came to this conclusion was there's something there. It's so many things. Like we talk about the first part with the base thing. It's like just put these walls up that don't really last much and when the match actually really kicks off and we're raiding or defending. And why not add a little bit of like make the guns like you look back at the base, some have giant cannons, have those cannons do something or set traps.
Yeah.
That are additional to not only these walls being fortified. And then when you're in the open world, Nick and I discussed this too. And Dave, I think you hopped in as well when we were talking about it, but it's like, get rid of the mining and add like NPCs out there. They don't have to be crazy fights, but something to like battle with to get that Vesper. Then you can utilize it in the shop if you want to. Like it feels like it wants to be a first person MOBA, but doesn't fully commit to it. And then, like, I think the fun of the game is when you're in there and, well, I think the capture the flag part when the gate breaker comes out and we're all chasing it and fighting over it and running back and forth. And that part seems that's where I have the most fun. And then when those raids start, I mean, it's the combat's good. I mean, these are devs that made Titanfall and Apex Legends. And, those are great shooters and they're fun to play and there's no difference in it. I just feel like there's so much potential, and I think we all came to that conclusion. But before I keep going on and on, Dave, I know you kind of hopped in a little bit before we all could get on last night, and I know you and Lauren were kind of running a bit, so I'll pass it to you first.
Yeah, so that is a good segue because that makes or breaks the experience, I think, is having friends on your team to play with, because I tried one match solo. So it was me with 4 randoms, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. But then everyone was kind of just off doing their own thing. There was no team cohesion. I don't know if there's a, sorry, I'm just making sure my dog isn't unplugging anything. But I don't know if there's like a game chat feature. I'm sure there is, where you could just talk with all the randoms, but we were already in the Discord and stuff. So I had no communication with the team, and I could see where people jump in, and if they're not, I mean, it's like anything though, like you jump in big team battle by yourself, it's a much different experience than if you're jumping in big team battle on Halo with a bunch of your friends. So that definitely helped our experience, is that we had 4 of us, 4 out of 5. We had good comms, and that made it fun. But I was thinking a lot about it today because I did have a good time last night, and I'm wondering if it was a case where they were making this game where it was too many Chiefs and not enough Indians, where it seems like everybody had a different idea of what this game should be, and they were all just adding like maybe somebody's over there working on the mining of the crystals while another guy's over there working on like how you end up assaulting the base. Like it just felt like so many ideas thrown into one thing, where it wasn't just like, oh, we have one like head of developing, like, this is my idea, let's make it happen. It feels like maybe too many people coming up with different ideas, and they tried to squeeze it all into one thing. But you're right, there is something there. I think they could even like strip back some features. They don't need to add that much more. I mean, maybe add a couple things and then strip back other things. Like you mentioned, having some kind of NPCs out there, a big ogre, something you got to kill that drops, a legendary weapon. Just something to break up. The beginning of the game just felt like it didn't fit in. You have to wait a whole minute or so before you can leave your base. And I remember asking you, I was like, wait, is the only thing we can do right now is like reinforce our walls? Like it felt like there should be something else we're working on, like arming the cannons, like you said, or setting up a trap somewhere. But it was like, all right, I'm going to go around and reinforce these walls just for someone to easily break through, or they could just choose a different wall because there's about 100 walls in the base. So like, why am I going to reinforce 5 of them when they can just go, stuff like that was just weird to me. And and that's what I go back to. It was like too many ideas, and maybe they just needed a better leadership at the top, saying like, no, this is the vision, this is what we need to narrow our focus on. Because the shell is there, that feeling when we're all on riding some kind of animal's back and we're heading towards the base and we're all kind of like cheering on, like, oh, there's somebody chasing us, and then somebody pulls back to basically sacrifice himself so everyone else can keep pushing. Like, those elements of the game are awesome. Like, it has those hype moments. Like, oh, we got what is it, the shield breaker or the storm breaker? I forget
shield breaker, I believe. A gate breaker. I don't know. I'm the same way. I'm like, it's a breaker. It's a big giant sword that you slam in and summons this tower. It's pretty crazy. And I do want to touch on the sacrifice your moment. That was my favorite moment last time. Is I think Nick had the gate breaker. You were with him. And no, actually, Nick, you had jumped off and we went into 3v3. And for that one round, Lauren and Dave ran off with the gate breaker, and I had the big boy that you get from the drops. And their whole team was right there, and I was like, "Just run! I'll stand the ground and fight him." And the ice guy he goes into that full big troll thing, came around the corner, and I just unloaded the clip. And as he's about to hit me, he dies. And then the other guy comes, and I'd already tossed a grenade. He popped, and I get the rest of the clip on him, and they had made it just in time. So it was like, there's those cool moments baked in any multiplayer game, right? We have 1,000 Battlefield stories we could tell, and we're riding high and get RPG in the back while we're all in the same vehicle because we don't learn our lessons. But you're right. You hit a lot of points, Dave, especially like it feels like you're right that they were making 5 games at once and then like patchworked it together into what we see now. And something I pitched to Nick before we hopped in yesterday was it'd be amazing if, in my opinion, like, because these characters, they're all cool, but like, why are they called wardens? Like, why are they fighting? Why do they have these demeanors and attitudes they have? And they allude to it a little bit in game conversation, but like having a single player, not single player, but like kind of like a Destiny kind of campaign version of the game where we can all still play together, and you like learn the guns, you learn the abilities, learn why these people are the way they are and why they act the way they act. And then you bring that into like kind of like the Crucible on Destiny, where it's like that's the multiplayer version where we all get to do those kind of cool battles, and that helps you get better gear. And I just feel like they could have made something like that and had a great game on their hands with a more robust multiplayer like we've talked about. But Nick, we I know you had a few things to say, and you were kind of, you made the comment last night. I did not think I was going to have this much fun tonight playing this with y'all. So take the floor.
Yeah. So, and there's 2 parts to it, right? So we definitely had a blast last night. I mean, like Dave said, those moments when you have a big scrap and you get the shield breaker, and then, everybody's running on the horses or the mounts, and you're going, and it feels intense. It feels fun. And, you catch a couple strays, you're running, and it's got a lot going on. I agree with a lot of both of your points, though. Was it fun? Yes. I think a lot of testament to that is we all were playing together. I couldn't see myself playing that solo. I would get bored and I'd get frustrated if everybody was doing their own thing.
Right.
And 2, what was really cool about the game that I liked was really a lot of the visuals. When you do the shield breaker the first time, you're like, whoa, dude, this is sick, and the gunplay is great. It's got a lot of potential, but there is so many flaws with it too that I think that I just don't see it going in the long run. You talked about we'll start with the lore. You talked about the lore. And, when you have a game, I think, that has all of these very specific characters, the least you could do, and I think what they really could have benefited from, was in that tutorial, as you're, not draw out the tutorial, but as you're going through it, maybe that the trader or someone in the background is kind of saying like, here's what we are, here's the purpose behind what we're doing, right? You just get a little bit more so you can get a little bit more invested in your character. even if it's like have a little bio on the warden that you could just read at your leisure while you're waiting in the lobby for someone else to join or something, like just something to where you can kind of connect a little bit more. And I think Apex did that with the bios, or they do those little intro videos when a new character comes out and just saying kind of like who they are, a little bit of background. It doesn't have to be crazy, but a little bit so people get invested with who they're playing. Other than we were just like, yeah, I'll be the flame dude, I'll be the ice guy, on the tree. You know what I mean? You're just kind of going off of visuals.
You can kind of guess what they're about, but it's just guessing. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You're like, oh, so the fire guy is like this. He's kind of like a swindler. He owes people money, and he's kind of the wisecracking guy. While the ice dude is more of like, and it's a testament that we don't remember their names. I think it's Slade and Kai, but like, I think but
the names are forgettable.
Well, yeah, I mean they're all kind of forgettable. Like you were playing, like I'm going to play the tutorial guy, or and it's like you don't want that. And I agree with you, Nick. Like an easy fix without having to make a bunch of stuff is doing bios, or like an intro move, like a cutscene explaining what wardens are and why they are fighting each other and blowing up bases. People are like, some people could be like, well, why? What's the point? Well, it's like, because that adds more to it. It invests you more. Like, that's the point of any game, really. Like we know why we're battling a battlefield when we're doing multiplayer. It's two opposing sides trying to control land. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's a tale as old as time when it comes to war. It kind of writes itself for you. But yeah, why are these wardens fighting? Why are they seem to be all on the same side? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like that's another weird thing. Like there's no, like with like a World of Warcraft, there's two factions. Why they're fighting in PvP. But they're also working together, quote unquote, when taking down raid bosses and stuff like that, because that's the threat of the world. But also, hey, we also don't like each other, so we're gonna scrap when it's time to scrap. So, but I think
I do got some more on it though.
I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. I didn't know. I just didn't want you to go off of the Highguard yet. But if you had more to add to that, go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I was just gonna like. I really liked what you both combining what you and Dave both said. It just feels like this game should have just baked for another year. None of us knew about it until the Game Awards. You could have just baked it in, or again, like we stated in the first episode, or I stated, put like a what's the word? Early access. An early access for this game would have been wonderful. Hey guys, this is what we have cooking so far. Tell us what you think. The 5v5 was such a quick fix. That would have been immediate to everyone. Hey, you just need to make it a 5v5. 3v3 is entirely too nothing's happening. And then like again, you get like a bunch. We're not the only ones saying there should be like NPCs or something besides the mining. That's another one you fix. Okay, we tried that. Now we're going to do this. How do you feel about this? And then within a year and a half, you could have done a full release and had something, relatively special on your hands. But that's the end of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it's right. All I was going to say too else was talk about getting into the actual gaming of it, past the lore, right? The intro base fixing, it was pointless, right? It was almost like something to do while you waited a minute. I would just go around to random walls and reinforce them, and I didn't think it was doing anything. I know they're going to break in sooner or later. So that almost to me, like, I would just take it out of there, like add a different metric to it of
just start the game and take off running.
Yeah, like I want to get into the fight. And then, we talked about the mining. Dude, I would, I'd be going looting and getting ready for a battle. And I'd be like, all right, let me hop off and get a couple of these rocks because I know if I die, I want to be able to buy a shield or something at the store, right? It was like kind of a, let me go knock this out so I can get back to the gameplay type thing. You know what I mean? But I liked a lot of it too. I think it had a lot of potential, right? The shield breaker spawning in, you guys, it forces a big scrap. And then I like to be able to recall to your base. You have this true like attack and defend phase. I like how you can stop the attack and, then the loot kind of increases. But I think Dave made a good point too. Throw like a big ogre or a boss in there that, you guys got to have to take down together, but then you might get, attacked from the side. You got to shift your focus, take out the team. they might get the finishing shot on the ogre, and then everybody's battling for the loot it drops. There's so much potential to where the gameplay was fun. The shield breaker concept is cool. I want to spend more time doing those things than reinforcing the base, mining, and honestly, the shop, being in the shop. Like, it's exactly what you both said. It's almost like 3 or 4 different games, their base mechanics into one. It's like Team Fortress, Apex, Counter-Strike, all these games into one game. And it's like, yeah, people, those things have their place, but this has something. It needs to focus on what it has, its concept, and lean into it, where it tried to focus on too many different things.
Yeah, and you two things I want to touch on that. I think that's why Arc Raiders is successful, that PvE element to it, right? Like that big ogre is basically the matriarch. The 3 of us could be battling the matriarch, about to kill it, and a team out of nowhere comes from behind us, takes us out, steals all of our loot. Yeah, is it infuriating? Yeah, but it adds that additional tension to the game,
Mm-hmm.
And Nick made a comment we were playing last night where he's like, what is this dude doing in the middle of a war zone with a little shop here? And again, why is this guy shop to both sides that are fighting? You know what I mean? Like, it's
it doesn't fit.
No, it's just odd. It's really odd. And, you interface with it because you want to get stuff, and it does help to get gear if you can't loot, but then it kind of, why should I go loot chests when I could just mine the whole time and then go to the shop and kind of get everything I need? That's, kind of takes away that tension of the random loot drops, which I do kind of enjoy that part. It kind of touches into that battle royal, like we were just talking about, like Battlefield Red Sec and stuff. But
yeah,
I think and I won't speak directly for you, but I just think we all came to the conclusion that, we had a lot of fun. It does help to play with each other, when I played by myself as well, I had a little bit of fun, but not nearly as much fun as I had with you guys. It's, we're laughing, we're having fun, and, with the tension, if right when we get a clutch win, like our last 3v3 was a ton of fun. You threw up those, used that one girl's ability to turn everything into the tornadoes. They couldn't see you go in there shotguns. I go in there, sacrifice myself, and then we get it, and we won it. That was a bunch of fun. But, Highguard, I don't know if it's too late, if they keep making these changes and updates, but only time will tell. We'll be, keeping track of it and update as we go. It will probably be the last time we all hop in together and play. I'll be keeping an eye on it as updates happen. Gives you a reason to jump back in. But
yeah,
that's enough about Highguard. Dave, you've been playing a certain series that I'm excited for because I think it'll start saving my drafts pretty soon, and that is Resident Evil Requiem comes out this year. By the end of the month,
soon.
actually. Yeah, very soon. And we're all super excited about that. But in preparation for that, you stated you and your wife, Lauren, have been playing co-op of a certain Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 5. Dave, talk to me about it. What made you guys want to jump in there? And
well, like I stated earlier, I knew there's a lot of great games that I missed over the years, and I've always heard incredible things about Resident Evil. And now that I've jumped into 5, I've dove pretty deep into some of these comments, some of these videos where I see how passionate the Resident Evil community is, and everybody has an opinion on which games are good, which are bad. The reason we chose 5 is because just reading reviews online, it seemed pretty unanimous that Resident Evil 5 had the best co-op features. And I see that while playing it. We're a little over halfway done with the game right now. We're just playing on normal difficulty, just having fun. And the co-op, you could see it was designed to play with a friend. There's certain points in the map where you got to split up. You have to use like team jumps, basically, is what I would describe it as, where the names are escaping me now. It's do you recall the names of the Resident Evil 5, the main players? I know Sheba.
It's Chris Redfield and What's the other one?
Or Shiva maybe. Shiva is the girl maybe. But yeah. So Chris Redfield with all
Our
his
producer's
giant
tied up right now, so he can't look it up for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a beast though, isn't he, Chris Redfield? Just jacked to the gills.
His triceps are bigger than my head, but he'll launch and gosh, people are probably gonna light me up if I mess it. But I think her name's Shiva. Or I don't know, I'll have to look it up.
Here, I'll look it up. Keep going.
But yeah, Chris, he'll launch her up into onto the Shiva Elamore. There it is.
Oh, there we go. He's listening to us.
Yeah, but they're both badass characters, and so the female character, she always gets launched up to a rooftop because she's lighter, and she can be up there sniping, and it was great to jump into. It feels like a 360 game, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like, I felt that era of gaming while playing it. You're walking through a town packed with NPCs, and nobody talks to you. No, like, they're all just staring at you with kind of dead eyes. But that's what makes it so great. Like, I mean, this game originally came out in 2009, and I believe it's remastered 2016. And now I'm playing it in 2026, and we're having a great time. I know this one is not as much into the horror elements of Resident Evil. Although there are some portions, there's a part where you're wading through the swamps. You're in like a swamp in Africa, and all of a sudden, this big ass fucking crocodile comes patrolling through the water, and I got one hit by this thing. We were not ready for it. The crocodile took me out, and my wife screamed. She has a fear of sharks and being in the water and stuff. So the crocodile's right there. It was, there are some elements that can, right there, the marshlands. Wow, we have a great producer today. He's
doing great.
Yeah, that mission right there. If people are watching on video, when you're out, you got to take that river boat around and explore different parts. So I had played.
Real quick, Dave, I don't want to cut you off, but I could have sworn, and I believe Resident Evil 4 has a very similar swamp area with that same boat almost, and it's like a giant fish. It doesn't look like that crocodile, the one that anyone that's watching can see, but it's like a giant fish monster thing, and that tension of being in the water and kind of driving around, it's pretty terrifying. But I never really jumped into 5. That's what I experienced when I played 4 back in the day. But keep going.
5, I would recommend 5 if you and your brother have some time and you guys want to jump in a co-op game together. You guys would have a blast playing this. I think it's cool. But that's why I was asking your opinion in our group chat of just like what other one, because we've got less than a month now until Requiem, and now I've got the Resident Evil itch. I want to play. I know I could probably play at least one more, maybe 2 more, depending how much or how late I want to stay up and things like that. But I want to get some more in, and I'm hoping anybody listening will let us know like what their recommendations are, because I know people are diehard for this franchise, and I've thought about playing some of the original ones to kind of get some of the more of the story background from how it all started. But I know there's some fan favorites out there, like you mentioned 4 being great. I've heard 7 is great. So we'll see what happens. But I'm really enjoying this one, and I highly recommend it. If anybody out there's listening has a girlfriend or just a buddy that wants to play something and you guys are bored, don't know what to do, Resident Evil 5 has been awesome. The last thing I'll mention, my only exposure to Resident Evil in the past was in arcades over the years. I'm sure you guys have played them as well. Resident Evil always has a great arcade machine where you got to take cover and take hits and stuff like that. And Resident Evil 5, you get such a variety in that game that at times I was telling my wife, I was like, this does feel like the arcade machine, because there's times where you're both behind a minigun and you're taking out waves of bosses and stuff. But then there's also times one of us had a lantern and one of us had a pistol, and you're going through a dark cave. And that's where the horror would come in, where, guys are dropping from the ceilings or just coming out of the water, and the light they give you is so weak. It's like you cannot even see them coming. And I've been blown away by it. And this game came out a long time ago, so I'm so excited for Requiem. I think we'll probably have to do a couple episodes talking about it, because I know we're all going to jump in when it drops.
100%. And one thing, what I love, and this is going to make you laugh, one of your goats, going back to episode 1, was the Gears of War franchise. I've always described, and I lied to you right now, I did play Resident Evil 5. I was looking at it right now while you were talking. I did play that back in the day. It's just been so long. But I do remember when I played it, it was almost like going from 4 to 5 was a little bit jarring, because it was almost like, hey, let's just make Resident Evil and then throw it basically with a Gears of War skin on that bad boy, because that's how you feel. Like, Chris Redfield's a beast. He could be a cog in Gears and he would fit right in. And it's funny that you liked it so much, because I think it does harken back to those Gears of War 360 days. Just the way the game feels and plays. So that's funny.
You can tell
like it.
You could tell it's the same era. And it's funny you bring that up. I was reading some stuff online, some posts and some comments where people criticized it for that reason, though, because that's why I want to try some other Resident Evils, because they said around the era of Resident Evil 5, it was like they kind of wanted to copy what else was out there, Gears of War and such, where there's you can't take cover at all times, but there are portions of this game where you take cover, just like Gears of War, and you could pop around the corner and lay down some shots. But that's anything, though. We just touched on everything with Highguard, how they took a lot of influence from other games. So that's not necessarily a bad thing if somebody took influence from the Gears of War. But I guess
it seems like they tried. Again, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying something with the franchise, especially with so many of them. You're on the 5th game at that point, except for like the other ones that came out, like Project Ada, I believe. But it's been a minute. And what I would recommend for you to play prior to Requiem is, if you said you hadn't played the originals, I would say Resident Evil 2 Remake was so good. It was, and that's like, Leon Kennedy, kind of get a feel for that character leading into this. I mean, 4 will always be my favorite. And I think that's why I kind of criticized 5 when I started as well, because it was so different from 4 that it kind of bothered me at the time. But going back and listening to you talk about it, I'm sure I would enjoy it a lot more, especially being a different time in life. But and then 6 was the same problem too. There was like, you could choose different. It was so arcadey. I know Nick jumped into 6 too. It's still a third person. But, and then correct me if I'm wrong, 7 is not Village. 7 is the first, like, Biohazard, right? The first person one, and that's kind of where Resident Evil returned the form, as everyone stated, and it went from that one to Village, and then this one is kind of taking back everything. You kind of get the third person experience with Leon, and then you get the first person experience with Grace. And you kind of get, both the best of both worlds. So you're the ass kicker, you feel invincible as Leon, and then as Grace, it hits back to that fear and being careful, and that survival horror that Resident Evil is known for. So I that's what makes me so excited for Requiem, is like, you get both worlds. Like, you get to feel like this unstoppable killing machine, but also get the crap scared out of you, which, I'm a big wuss. And it hasn't gotten better as I've gotten older, but like, right there, look at that. That's not going to be great in a dark room playing by myself with a headset on. I'm going to scream.
Our producer.
Just watching for the shadows as we're talking. I was like, oh god.
With me housing my lasagna just now, listening to you guys.
We're like our producers. He's like, I'll put some photos up so they stop bothering me. But but yeah, I think, Dave, I would recommend either the Resident Evil 2 remake or Resident Evil 4 remake, one of those two, to be the one that you play next. And if you finish those and you have time for another one, I would say 7 or Village, so you get the feel for the first person part of it too. So it kind of gives you
more
that
modern.
full. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, it gives you that full view of what you're gonna play in Requiem, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, if I finish Dragon Quest VII with enough time to slot another game in there, I'll probably play Resident Evil 2 Remake because I when it first dropped, I didn't really get to get hands on. I just saw the reviews, everyone loved it, so I'm going based off of that. But I played the original and I loved it in it, and I know this one they just modernized it, made it better, so that'll probably be the one I jump into in preparation for Requiem. Or I might just go in cold and get the hell scared crap scared out of me and just be like, all right, let's do this thing without any prep. But Nick, I know me and Dave and I have been going for a little while about Resident Evil 5 and all the past Resident Evils and getting excited for Requiem. Anything you want to touch on that before we continue?
Yeah, no, the only thing is, and we talked about it a little bit when we talked about Requiem, but I will say where I did not like Village, there is a thing when you're in first person playing a game, a horror game, that it's scarier than third person, right? So I remember vividly in Village, like I'd sat down in this office, no lights on, I had my headset on, and you're walking through and like you get so immersed, man. There'll be like crows fly out of a freaking cornfield, right? And you're like, I'm like sitting here like sweating, so like I just with the images we've seen of Requiem, I think it is going to be, I mean, you're going to be at the edge of your seat this entire game. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. You get to get a little bit of panic, but then you get to go and have some great action, because that's what really was missing for me out of Village, where I liked what they were trying to do. It was cool, but it was just like the gameplay wasn't that fun. And I think that's where they're really going to succeed with this, is like you get that true horror, but then you get great gameplay with it with Leon. Like I think it's just going to be I think you're going to see some massive points. It's definitely, as of right now, and because it's so close, it's so anticipated for me. I'm so excited to play it.
Yeah.
I'm just excited for it to save my draft, not only
It
play it
will.
because we'll touch in on story number 3, but my little diorama maybe not save me as well as I thought it would. But yeah, we're all excited for Requiem. It's right around the corner. We're a couple weeks out. Um, but we'll see, man. I'm hoping they knock it out of the park and we all have an amazing game to play. And thank God no one counterpicked it, so we can all just enjoy it and bask in my points. But that's all. Not all we've all been playing this week. Nick, you since the show Fallout Season 2 has been out, I think it's been great, and we can, I want to jump into that a little bit with you boys while we're talking about this. But that gave you the Fallout bug, and why we've been kind of in this gaming waiting period, and you've been hopping in the old Fallout 76, and you've had a lot of positive things to say. You're back in Appalachia, figuring things out. So, I know you and I both played it when it first dropped. I jumped back in a little while back, and I still didn't really stick with me too much. But from what you've told me, it's almost a brand new game. So, first question I want to ask you, would you consider Fallout 76 a good game in 2026? And if you could kind of hop in, what makes it different now? And yeah.
Yeah, so I'll leave with this. It's a good game to me, but if you don't like MMOs, you're not going to like it. Well, maybe. Here's the thing. What I like so much about it is, and I'll get into some of the different things, but one of the best things is it is an MMO that I feel that I could play completely solo and have a great time with, right? That's really important to me in an MMO, because I'm not one to get on with a group of randoms or like join the guilds, and so many MMOs are really like the content's locked behind you getting like real serious and getting a really good group of like 30 people that are all on the same page together. And if someone messes up, you can't join another lobby. I think that was a lot of World of Warcraft's downfall for me, was like I didn't have time to invest my life into the game to enjoy the game. With 76, one thing, I did play it when it dropped, and I thought, what is this? Like, there was no NPCs. There was no true direction. I was trying to look, for some cool lore. It was all holotapes, notes, or reading terminals, which is just really not immersive. But I mean, I think it's a completely different game. One, it's like the perfect time to hop into it. I'm hyped from the show. We could talk about the show in a little bit, but it got me really back entrenched in the lore of Fallout, which I love so deeply. And you come out. So I think I jumped back in at level 4. So I was in a town. I didn't know really where I was. I was trying to figure it out, and there was a point where I was like, I'm almost just going to put this back down because am I too far gone to catch up with everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just went ahead and fast traveled back to Vault 76, to the entrance. And one cool thing is, the ghoul is right out front from the show, and he tells you about the new DLC, and you get to talk with him. But then you start to see there's NPCs now throughout the game. There's factions. There's all the factions you love from the Fallout games. You could do a Brotherhood of Steel quest line. You could do an Enclave quest line, which is my favorite faction from the Fallout games. I just telling you, dude, I like them. But
Brotherhood of Steel always.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Dirty tech rats. No, I got a place for all the factions. Really, I like them. But like, that's the cool part. You could go be a raider, join the raider faction in this one. You know what I mean? So it's like, it lets you kind of do whatever you want, and it's packed with NPCs. I just started to play, and what I had to get back into the intro quest, and that really opened up the game more, and I started to understand what was going on again. There's camps in the game, which in Fallout 4, you could build a base. I never truly did it in Fallout 4. I didn't care for it. I'm like, why? I would do it to complete missions, but in this one, what was really frustrating for me at first was I would get a bunch of good loot, and yeah, 2018, I'd get a bunch of good loot, and I would go to sell it, and all of the NPC vendors would just give me like trash money for it. Well, these camps, you can set up a shop and set your own prices, and makes people want to come to your camp. And a lot of like the community right now is great on 76. You have like resource collectors. Most everybody leaves them unlocked, so you get this real good high tier resource to help you in the game from the vendors, and then you get to buy loot. And then I find a legendary item or something. I might not use it, but I'll put it in my shop for a couple hundred caps. Somebody will come to my camp. They'll give me an emoji, a thumbs up for the camp. I built a pretty cool camp. They'll buy my stuff, and then they'll roll. So it's like it's almost like the NPCs not giving you a good amount of money, like made a little bit more of a community. It made a purpose for the camp building, it felt like. So I appreciated that. I've been hopping into the events, which have been really fun. The daily ops, which are like a little quick grind, but they're challenging. That's been fun. And just messing with the build, man. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really happy because I've really liked all the Fallouts. And when I played it for the first time, it was really a letdown in the franchise. And I went into it like, I want to really like this game. And like I said, I got the level 4, dude, and uninstalled it. And this dropped announced in 2018. I don't know if it was dropped in 2018, but here we are in 2026. I'm finally playing it and having fun with it. So, talking about games needing to bake in the oven.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an MMO. It's designed to drip feed you content, but the secret to that is to wait 7 years after the release and then play.
And you get the best version of that game if you do it. Well, you're not the only one that got bit with that bug, man. I mean, they said Fallout 76 just hit a massive peak of 30,000 concurrent players on Steam this week, thanks to the show's finale hype. I would have to be the show that got everyone amped up. The only thing that makes sense for everyone to jump back into 76.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like when I jumped back in, I think the events were happening and stuff like that. And I played for a bit, and I got a few of the I want to say I played on Xbox, so probably got a few achievements. you know what I mean? It's cool. It's like not what I want. I want a fully fleshed out single player Fallout game, but it does scratch an itch that's not there. Like that's why I can't wait for these remasters that are so rumored to come out. Like I want them bad, especially New Vegas. Like I'll love 3, don't get me wrong. I'll run right into that and have the time of my life, but you know, the way that you just see like, you know, like the ghoul and everyone just like when the last episode that we watched when he's like fighting the death claws and the power armor, and it's like, dude, I just want to be in New Vegas with like a new fresh coat of paint and do these things. And I thought that armor looked sick, the NCR armor with the blades on the arms. That's just
another
awesome.
thing which they're doing so smart with. 76 is they're not fools. They know that this show is pulling people into their game. They just dropped, after that episode of the NCR Power Armor, a DLC that you can download. Now, you got to pay for it, and I'm not going to do it, but they're smart. You get that power armor.
Oh, you know, they probably made a pretty penny because a bunch of people just bought that power armor.
Yeah, it's the old Bethesda fucking sneaky that they're pulling.
We will make you a new game, but we'll get your money. We will get your money. Don't you worry.
One way or another, we'll get it.
They know.
But I think but also I just feel like it's such a huge missed opportunity with Bethesda. Like right now, we're all watching the show, we're all loving it, we're all enjoying it. You know, like there's people criticizing things like that in there, and there are some valid complaints, but for most part, I love it. And like right now, if at the end of this season you dropped a brand new Fallout or a remaster of an older game, immediately that's what's taking precedence for me for a bit. You know what I mean? Like now, granted, is a drop at the same time as Resident Evil Requiem, that might be a duke out. You know what I mean? But then it's like, but like if you drop into like right now, like Dragon Quest VII comes out tonight at midnight. We're recording on a Monday, everybody. I know this usually drops Wednesdays or Thursdays, so it'll be like, what's he talking about? It's already been out. But no. But like if you hit a lull period, like right now, when, you know, like because January was relatively quiet, if they'd have dropped something there and like planned it out that way, dude. I mean, they would still sell gangbusters regardless, but like it's right there, man. We're all talking about it. Fallout's never been in the zeitgeist like it's been now, ever.
Yes.
Just capitalize, please.
Here's what I do if I'm Bethesda. Either this next episode or at the season finale, I have a scene where in the background there's a poster and boom, it says Fallout New Vegas remaster or something, right? It doesn't have to be something that takes away from the show, but it's something you see and boom, they drop the remaster. Then what I'm going to do if I'm Bethesda is the next season of that show, I'm sending their ass to DC. And at the end of that season, I'm dropping a Fallout 3 remaster.
Yes. You know why? Because that's smart. It's very smart. And like, I don't know if you could pull this up, but on their official website on Amazon, it has the countdown of something counting down in there that unlocks at the end of after the season finale. And I don't know if that'll be the new remaster. And it's like you want to believe that, but also we know how Bethesda is. Like you just released recently like those like the anniversary editions that were nothing special. You know what I mean? It's just like, please, like right there. Look,
so that's what it is. And
is that it right now? It's still 31 days, or is that like
no?
Okay,
this is an older image, but what it is there's like an interactive thing on like a Pip-Boy, and this coincides with the end of the season. Now it could be two things. Do they drop the remaster, or is it just going to be the next location for season 3? Probably the next location for season 3.
Exactly. Or a Fallout 5 teaser poster. And I'm like, dude, come on, bro. We know you're working on it. Just anyways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it's knowing them, it'll be like, we canceled all Fallout projects because it was too successful. And we want to make Starfield 2.
Yeah, exactly.
But oh yeah, Dave, I don't think we've heard from you yet before we continue on. Anything on Fallout 76 and the show and anything like that?
So that's why I just had pulled up to see when the last episode was going to air, and it's showing this week went on Wednesday night, or whatever time they drop it will be the final episode of season 2. And we had been waiting waiting to start watching until they were all dropped so that we could just kind of hit one after another, like because you know how it goes with these shows. They leave you hanging right at the end. Oh, what's
Y'all
that?
see that?
What's it say now?
Sorry. It's 1 day, 7 hours, 21 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So that adds up. That adds up to on Wednesday.
That's exactly what you said. Yeah.
So next week, we'll have something to talk about on the episode.
That means you better finish that whole series by next week.
Yeah, you got. Well, no, he has to finish the series by Wednesday, so there's no gaming happening for you the next 48 hours. And for me, I got to finish Dragon Quest VII Reimagined in a day. So
I know there's
have those mixed drinks and watch 7 Fallout episodes tonight.
I'll fall asleep. That's the that's the dilemma, and I mean that's our whole theme of the podcast: grinding and gaming, and then we should put in parentheses maybe watch a show if we have time, because you're trying to make that choice of where to put your time, and we're all so busy, and I was just telling you guys about, normally if I do get something in, we have that window from maybe 7 p.m. to about 10 p.m. It's like, do I want to play Resident Evil? Do I want to watch Fallout? Do I want to grind some Battlefield? Like, or do I want to just be productive and get some work done, like for the business or for the podcast, whatever. So I wouldn't call it a complaint. We're never bored these days. When I hear people talking about, they're just, oh, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do. I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to sleep, because of just how much stuff there is to entertain us, all these different interests we have, all these worlds we want to dive into. I thought Fallout Season 1 was awesome. It was something the diehard fans of Fallout could watch it, and they're sitting there pointing at the screen and like, oh, they did that so well. And then other people, like people's wives and girlfriends or whoever, are also watching the show, and they might not know anything about Fallout. And I know we touched on it a bit in the past, just like other series dropping the ball, like Halo, of course, as everybody knows, that was just such a letdown. But I'm just so happy that I'm always you just want things to do well. It goes back to our initial discussion about Highguard. Like, negative news is what's driving the world right now, where people want to be like, oh yeah, these people made Highguard and it sucks. I hope they all just hate their life. And it's like, dude, why? There's no place in that, or there's no place for that in like my world. Like, I want Fallout to do amazing. And I think it's awesome that the show brought that many people. Like, I look at my friends list on Xbox Live, and I've seen, nowadays it's like we have hardly any friends online anymore, and that's a whole nother sad discussion. But if I have 6 people online, I've seen 2 or 3 of them are playing a Fallout game, and that's pretty cool, and I can't wait to dive into season 2 of the show. We've waited long enough. I've talked to you guys offline about we've been revisiting these Lord of the Rings extended cuts, and that takes a few nights to watch because we end up falling asleep before we get through a 4-hour movie. But we're about there. We're jumping into Fallout next. So I think I'll probably get a few episodes in by our next recording, and so we'll have an announcement from whatever they're, we'll see if they're just, what's the word for it? Just building the hype for nothing, or maybe they're going to drop something cool and we'll just have more games on our backlog that we need to get to. But yeah, I'm just always rooting for the success of people are working hard on the show. They're working hard on these games. I just hope it does well. Yeah, there's too much negativity going around these days. I just hope Fallout crushes it. It's a great team. they've given people endless hours of entertainment. Like they deserve to do something big. So let's
that's where we touch in. It's
keep our hopes up.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just we want you to make something that we're gonna buy, and if you give us those remasters, 100%. And I do want to touch on that, like, yeah, like kicking all these guy like devs while they're down and stuff. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
I think they all understand what happened with Highguard there, and again, like what went into that, the politics of that. We're not there. We don't know. We don't make games, but I'm sure they realize it now. And they're like, all right, well, you know what I mean? So again, we want things to be successful. Like if Highguard was everything we wanted it to be, like we had fun for what it was. And what the popular thing to do would have been like, we all had fun last night and then pretended on this podcast today that we all didn't and bash it some more. You know what I mean? Like I gave an experience of a solo 3v3 and I wasn't even that bad on it because it's like, dude, I'm not going to just bash it for the sake of bashing, but I'm not going to be ecstatic at the time, you know what I mean? Like when I play Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and if it doesn't live up to what I want it to be, you got to be honest, but like not just completely destroy it. And like to Nick stated, like comparing all these things. I said it last episode, I'll say it this episode. Like comparison's a thief of joy, and if you keep trying to compare things and not just enjoy it for what it is and figure out what its problem is as its thing, then you good luck getting happy or liking anything. You know what I mean? Like we were laughing about people getting mad about the build-in placements in the Fallout show. Like, dude, you know how hard it is to make a TV show, and like they're using practical things, and it feels more real. It's not all CGI. It's nice, man. It's it's a callback to like watching like the old Star Wars movies. You know what I mean? Like it's using those different, not everything's CGI, and it feels a little bit more like from what I heard, those are like guys in suits and stuff. Like it's all on set things. And
I've heard that there's been some like hate, I guess, for lack of a better term, about the show. And I don't understand it because I'm a huge Fallout fan. And one, dude, the placements of buildings is like the last thing I could care about. And I'm not playing the game, right? I want it to be a testament to the game and have different things in it. But, Dave was talking about you got guys pointing at the screen. I can't tell you how many times during this show I'm watching it with my wife and I pause it and I'm like, this is why this is so cool. And I give her like a little backstory about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, they've done that so well, and the story's cool. The actors are great. You just got to enjoy it for what it is. Yeah. Like if it's a bad show, like we've done with Halo, it's bad, but you can't pick apart building placement, man. I mean, come on. Like, if that's really what is that important to you, then download New Vegas and play it again and go look at where the buildings are.
Exactly. It's like, stop bashing the show. It's like, it is. It's like, if you go on YouTube right now, all the top videos are like getting a bunch of views are just bashing Highguard into the dirt or complaining about everything. And it's like, dude, if that's what you want, I think, Dave, I hate to say, it goes back to what you're saying, that boredom. Like, obviously, if you and I don't want to bash on the bashers because it's kind of like the same thing, right? But it's like, dude, just learn to enjoy it, and give criticism where criticism is necessary. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to just sugarcoat things. Like when Nick went off on see if I get it right this time. Cairn?
Cairn.
All right.
That was needed.
But that's real, that's genuine, and we were right there with you. Me and Dave are kind of sugarcoating a little bit, and Nick's like, no. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna eat this lasagna here, and I'm gonna tell you how I really feel about things. And that's good because it is true. And like,
he's gonna be in there customizing his pot though.
I know he's gonna be a top guy. Freaking
putting the ass cheek sticker on it.
Well, I have to create a new account on Xbox, so when I'm on the leaderboards, you guys can't tell it's me.
Like, you just like redo his name a little bit, Crispy Chip. I'm like, hey,
this is a little suspicious.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can go on and on about that whole culture. But like here, we're just trying to, we want things to see, we enjoy things, and we want to like it. Like we always talk about it, even like holidays and stuff. I like to like things, it makes life a little bit more fun for me. You know what I mean? Especially with, to Dave's point, where you got to fit in what's fun and sleep. Like it's just I don't know. Life is awesome. Like it is hard and a lot of things pop up, but like let's enjoy the entertainment that people are trying to provide. And we gave plenty of tips to the Highguard devs. You know what I mean? Like guys, you have something there. Do some things,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Maybe not everything we said. We, again, we're not game developers. It's a lot easier said than done, but I mean, you keep doing improvements and it's free. I'll hop back in and check it out and have some fun with the boys here. But, guys, that's enough about what we've been playing and talking about those things. And we, like Dave said, we're going to have a lot to talk about if that Fallout countdown turns out to be something awesome, which again, it kind of goes against my whole positivity rant there, but Bethesda, you hurt us so much. Please don't hurt us this time. Please don't. Just
right.
Todd.
Yeah.
Todd, put your cool little jacket on and give us what we want. Okay? Just do it. I know you're watching, Todd. I know this is your favorite podcast. You're one of our subscribers. Just do it, man. But jumping into our news desk this week, boys, a couple good stories. One is a little bit of a personal one that I threw in there for us, but the first one is a state of play PlayStation leak. I'll read a couple things to you guys and I want to get your thoughts, but multiple top tier insiders such as Jeff Grubb and Nate the Hate are reporting that a PlayStation state of play is locked for the week of February 12th. So relatively soon and right around the corner. It's being described as a pretty sizable event. Rumors suggest we'll finally see the release of Marvel's Wolverine, a deep dive into the 4v4, one of my picks and one of Dave's picks, Wolverine and Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Sony has let Microsoft own the news cycle lately in January. So maybe with Fable and Forza updates, plus their new games, Beast of Reincarnation and Cairn. And this is their counterpunch attempt, I believe, being the Sony guy in this podcast. And one of the viral quotes I read was, quote, Sony is finally breaking its silence. The drought officially ends the week of the 12th. So with me going on and on about that, with it right around the corner, we're a week away basically at this point. And by the time people listen to this, we'll definitely be 7 days out from this state of play if these leaks are, hold to be true. Boys, with us coming off the heels of the Xbox Direct the game wave that is February is about to hit hard with Dragon Quest VII, Resident Evil Requiem, and everything in between, and a possible shadow drop from Bethesda. How are we feeling about this PS5 Direct coming out pretty soon? Or I should just say PlayStation Direct. Nick?
Well, I'm excited for you, brother. I know you've been itching to get another Astrobot, and so I think when they announced that, you'll finally have another game of the year. No, in all reality, dude, I'm excited for this. I hope Sony does some big stuff. And I guess just for the sake of it, my worry, and it's not a worry, I hope they do it. They have some really cool exclusive announcements. It'll motivate me to go finally get the HDMI port on my PlayStation 5 fixed, which I did find a shop to do it. So I'm probably going to do that anyways.
It's so funny you said that. I found a shop up here that I was going to tell you about, but like, hey, man, let's just get this thing fixed at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to get it fixed and install and make sure I have a 2-factor authenticator so I can't get hacked again. But, look, dude, Sony's got big hitters. I mean, one of my favorite games of all time is God of War. Favorite all time. I have a Kratos poster here on the wall. A great character. I would love to see in the state of play. What's our next God of War? I'm itching for another one, man. Those games just, I love them. But, like you said, we're going to have the Marvel's Wolverine, that 4-on-4 fighter. And I think you picked both of those, right? Or Dave?
No,
picked
Dave
Wolverine.
got Wolverine. I got Tokon Fighting Souls.
You got Tokon. So I'm excited for that because that'll be some great discussion on those intros like we had with Fable and a couple of the other games of Forza. We get to see a little bit of this. What's this going to be? And it could do something to spark you guys's get you excited about your points, or it might be like, oh man, that kind of looks half baked, or maybe I shouldn't have picked that. So
what I'm hoping for is for both games to get release dates if they are shown. You know what I mean? That's what we're kind of waiting on is release dates. And some other things that might pop up in there that will get me excited, especially. There's some rumors of Kingdom Hearts 4 as well. Finally
Oh,
make it. No, well, it showed a little like a trailer a while back, but maybe a little bit a harder like show of gameplay and maybe a release date if possible, or release year maybe.
Yeah.
Um, but before we continue, just a full thing that we plan on doing for our next episode is we're gonna go full predictions on this bad boy and really dive in deep leading into it and see all the leaks and stuff and talk about it. And one thing, boys, and I was gonna save this for the end of the episode, but since we're already here, what I would love for us to do and kind of challenge each other is build our state of play for the 12th, what we would love to see and maybe play it like that. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but I think that'd be a little bit of fun and kind of talk back and forth. Obviously, hit our news cycle and what we've been playing and everything, but kind of just be a little bit of fun and predict what we see coming, like we did with Xbox.
yeah.
Dave, I know you and Nick are both our Xbox guys. Nick just touched on that and threw a little bit of shade at me. Astrobot was game of the year. Remind me of what
Yeah.
I haven't seen an Xbox game of the year in forever. But Dave, how are you feeling about it?
I'm excited, and after everything you've told us, and I've touched on how the main Xbox guy that I know, Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN, he's even talked about jumping ship to the PS5 Pro for some of these big titles because I mean Xbox isn't holding on to them anymore. They're they're giving their titles away, and I know we've talked about it in the past, and we're going to talk about it in the future. But I worry we are slowly seeing all empires fall, and Xbox might be falling, and PlayStation has such an advantage with going second, or and then obviously Nintendo can be its own category, but they've seen, okay, Xbox put this out. They talked about 4 games, 3 out of the 4 were cool, and you can play those on PlayStation anyways. So they have all the advantages are lined up for PlayStation right now. They can be like, oh, Xbox wants to show 4 titles, we're going to show 8. And they can just totally blow people away with what they choose to show us. And I'll tell you this, some of my best gaming memories were on the PlayStation 2. I had to step away for a second, so I don't want to repeat anything, hopefully, that you guys already mentioned, but I heard you touch on Kingdom Hearts 4 possibly being shown. I would consider going over our budget, going over our finances, and getting a PlayStation for Kingdom Hearts 4, just because that was a core memory of my childhood, was the original Kingdom Hearts. And I mean, back in those days when there was no guides to look up or anything, it was just you're as a kid, you spend hours trying to figure out certain portions of those games, and it's I'm excited for it. And you said right now it's just rumored.
There's
for the
I didn't
12th?
want to touch too much into it in this episode. I want to kind of save it as we get another week for it to bake and
Sure.
things, more things leak, and we'll hit it next week with some predictions. But yeah, from what I've
Definitely.
seen and some of the rumors I've heard, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, Naughty Dog's new game, both Marvel things that we were talking about, your pick with Wolverine and mine, Tokon Fighting Souls, and then Kingdom Hearts 4. Again, I'll do a little bit more research this time. There was a reason why people think Kingdom Hearts 4 will show. I think it was like something they saw like on their like Instagram or something along those lines. Again, speaking a little bit out of ignorance, but
Okay.
to your
A little
point, dude,
teaser or something.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is still like one of the best games. I remember one of my favorite games in my childhood. Because what I loved about the second one a little bit more was it leaned more into that Final Fantasy aspect, and me being loving Final Fantasy, like having these huge battles, and you have Cloud and Squall beside you, and they're going back to back, and like kind of repeating what I said in episode 1. But it was just so cool. You hit the
Yeah.
cool one-liners. You run into Sephiroth again, and it plays the song, and you're like, oh, it's like, Sephiroth, like, oh, there he is. And then he pieces you up immediately. You realize, oh, I'm not ready for this fight. And it's just, I don't know, man. I just, to your point, like, who would have thought that blend of Disney and Final Fantasy, throw it all together, throw this kid in with giant shoes and the key sword, and we're gonna have a hell of a game here. But I love those games, and yeah, 4 is apparently leaning more and more into it's almost like, I don't know if y'all saw the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, the teaser trailer. It has like a realistic look to it, vibe to it. Might be something worth pulling up, Nick, if you can.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. It kind of gets me a little excited for it. Not only that, like, the reason I picked Tokon Fighting Souls, going off like those arts and things like that, it just looks really, really cool. Not being a fighting guy, but that one I will probably jump into it because I am excited about it. And just like, that's why I love these like state of plays and things. Now we finally, like you made a great point too, talking about Xbox went first. Now PlayStation gets to do a counterpunch, like I stated earlier. And not only that, dude, what would be really savage of them is at the end of that state of play, do a B-roll of all the ones from the Xbox and say those are all going to be on PlayStation as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Almost like a stop stop them while they're down, give them a couple kicks. Like, hey, we liked your state of play. Guess what? All those games are going to be on ours. You know what won't be on yours? Wolverine, Tokon Fighting Souls, Kingdom Hearts 4. So yeah, this is a little teaser they showed. When was this out? 2022. Okay.
Yeah, and
so go ahead, guys. I'm sorry, I started getting all quiet because I was watching.
I know. I don't. We can watch this in the background, but for just our audio listeners, I do have some thoughts. We're right now we have the Kingdom Hearts 4 announcement trailer playing in the background. But I was, we've been throwing out different YouTube shorts just for fun, experimenting, just try to give people some information. But I put out a short talking about the top 10 games with the most awards. And I know there's some discussion that older games aren't included in the mix, but a lot of it's more current titles. But 4 out of those 10 games were PlayStation exclusives. Both of the Last of Us titles, and what else was on there? Uncharted and God of War. And PlayStation isn't giving up their cards. They're not going to put those. To my knowledge, over to Xbox. And like you had touched on Wolverine, I'd seen so much footage of these Spider-Man games, and I'm just sitting on the sidelines because I can't play them on Xbox, and I'm just like, man, those games look phenomenal. And it is like, people are jumping ship. People are switching over, because if I can get Master Chief on the PlayStation, it does raise the question, what am I doing with this Xbox? You have to wonder what the strategy is. And then also, I know in the question with this state of play coming up is a new PlayStation handheld. I've been doing more research about this, the Xbox Rogue LIX or whatever they're calling it, and it's $1,000, and I know it hasn't been met with the greatest praise or reviews and things like that. So this is also another counterpunch for Sony to be like, look, we got the new, whatever they call it, the PSP, whatever, the new version, PlayStation Portable device, and it's $300 less than the Xbox version, and it meets the same specs. Whatever they want to do, like they have the advantage right now. They have the high ground. This could be the beginning of the end for Xbox, depending what this state of play chooses to show us. So I'm going to be excited to watch.
And I cut the news story for it because, I mean, like, a lot, like, Xbox numbers were all down and stuff. I just feel like we kind of touched on it before. No need to go back into it, but yeah, it's just not looking good for them in a lot of ways. And like I stated, like, you make that point where it's like, if Master Chief, if everything I love about Xbox is now on PlayStation, it's almost like they're like, I keep thinking like they're like getting us ready to understand that, hey, this console is not going to exist relatively soon. We will still exist, as if we call ourselves Xbox Gaming just for brand recognition, or if we switch to Microsoft Gaming, and we'll still produce a bunch of great games and everything like that. Now, do we, like we say, we don't want to see that future because competition breeds better, just breeds better in all ways. Like, it makes people want to do better, like to compete with one another. But it almost feels like PlayStation hasn't really been competing with them now for a while, ever since they sent the original 4 over. And then it just started being like, they just ripped the Band-Aid off and now everything goes over. So, and again, like, you could say what you want about PlayStation experiences you've had. I get that. But like, the numbers don't lie. And it's like I would say the beginning and the end is being nice. I think that's already happened. I think we're watching, like you say, every empire falls. I think the siege already happened. Now it's kind of like, now we're just discussing terms and seeing where you fall in this pocket. You know what I mean? And I think the Steam machine can fill that niche that is there now. And then with that portable you talked about, I think it was part of the PlayStation 6. And if I remember correctly, I think that got pushed now, the PlayStation 6, and not coming out to like 29 now, I believe, maybe 28, 29, which I'm not mad at. I feel like this generation isn't good. But to your point, maybe they pivot now. I don't know, again, I don't know how easy that is, but pivot and make like a real legit portable PlayStation. Like, they have the PlayStation Portable now, but that's like a streaming machine. It's almost just like a backbone. But if you actually make a true legit portable PlayStation 5 right now, to your point, and it's cheaper than that Xbox ROG Ally Triple X 3467, whatever it's called. And then I'm just messing with you. I think those look sick. I would, like, if it wasn't $1,000, I would consider getting it. It is actually pretty cool looking. But yeah, to your point, like, just knock that out too. And it's like, you'll probably, like, you got Helldivers, which was smart. Like, why not? It's a multiplayer game. I think you will continue to see that. Like, when Marathon drops, it'll be on all consoles. Why wouldn't you? Marathon, any multiplayer game needs as many consoles and audiences to get in. And like, when Marathon comes out and gives me that 90, and Nick is crying, and that the negative points hits his account, we'll see how.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm so scared now. I messed up. I should have just went all artsy with all my picks, and now, like, when Mixtape gets a 90, I'm gonna sling this microphone out the window. But so we'll leave it there right now for State of Play. We're excited. We'll definitely touch him more with predictions and show builds next week, and we'll discuss that a little bit as we wrap this thing up. But Story 2, guys. This got leaked that GTA is going digital only for its initial release, with a physical probably coming later, prevent leaks. A massive leak from European retailer insiders suggests Rockstar might launch Grand Theft Auto 6 November 19th, 2026. So it looks good for your picks, Dave, as a digital only release initially to prevent leaks, which happened, I believe, with Last of Us Part 2, was when they got it out to like the access media. A lot of it leaked prior to the game coming out. And so caused definitely cost Sony and Naughty Dog a ton of money. The physical disc might be delayed by up to a month or even until early 2027. This will be the first time a game of this scale ditched a physical launch day, and this is Rockstar protecting their story, or is it a cynical move to push players toward digital storefronts where they can't be resold? Fans are already outraged, as we've seen online. So let me ask you guys, with the biggest game of all time coming out shortly, and it's going digital only as of right now, if the rumors say day one, and physical discs are coming later, I've thought this for a while, just based off how easy it is, especially going back to the grinding game aspect of what we do. It's so much easier to just download a digital game than going to a GameStop and buying it, or pre-ordering on Amazon and hoping it gets here on time. My roundabout way of asking you guys, is this officially the nail in the coffin for the physical disc and physical media era in gaming, or maybe just another blimp and we'll continue to see it kind of switch over? So I would love to hear from you first, Dave, on this.
I think it goes back to a thought I had earlier, where people are split into two camps right now. There's people that love a physical copy. They want it in their hands. They want to know if the whole United States blacks out, and they could plug their Xbox into a generator. They own these games. They could play them, and they don't need the internet. I know there's a lot of controversy with, even though you buy a disc, sometimes you still need the internet to play it. But but for me, I jumped ship a long time ago, just out of simplicity. We touched on it in the past, all of us being in the military and having a small barracks room or traveling to different countries and things. It was just so easy to have a digital copy. You could just take your machine from place to place. You didn't have to bring a whole gaming library with you. Growing up, we had a giant DVD rack in the living room that just seems ridiculous these days with all the streaming options available. Like, why did people own 100 movies and stuff like that? And I think we're seeing it with games. But I'm not taking a side. I'm not saying what people should or shouldn't do, because I do appreciate both aspects of it. I do kind of wish I had physical copies of a lot of these games, as you start to get into more permanent residence, and just having that option to pick up a game off the shelf. That you own it. That in 100 years, as long as your machine still works, your great grandkids could pick up that copy of Halo 3 and just discover greatness. It is cool, but as far as the leaks and things go, I understand it, because I remember there being so many different things. I even think when GTA 5 came out, I think there was a lot of things like that happened where, like, and we might need to fact check some of these things, but I recall some stories where, like, a shipping truck, got robbed and people were able to grab copies of the game early, or, like, obviously you have that 17-year-old guy working at GameStop that got the shipment a few days in advance, and he gives a copy to his friends, and then they put the whole game on YouTube, all the gameplay on YouTube before, like, there's all these shady things that can happen when there's a disc out there in the wild, but the game hasn't been released yet. So I don't blame them if they want to start with digital only and then they still have the disc later. I think that appeals to both camps, and it doesn't hurt anybody. Well, I guess it hurts the people that plan to buy it physically and they can't, So I don't know. I get that people are going to complain and have issues with it, but for me, it doesn't affect me personally, because, like you said, we're also busy. I haven't been to a GameStop in a long time. Like, I'm just going to download the game and play it when I can at my convenience. I think there will.
Sorry.
Just to close that loop, I think there will. Me and my wife talk about it, how we would love to, when we do, maybe have a little more spending money to go to those retro gaming shops and pick up, copies of these games to have forever. Like, we were talking about Rock Band recently. This is a total tangent, but we were like, man, wouldn't it be so cool to have a copy of Rock Band right now and have all the instruments, because that was such a cool. That was a huge part of my childhood, was going to my buddy's house. He had all the guitars and drums that you could play. So we're like, I know there's a group that wants to own everything physically, but it doesn't hurt me right now. I'll just download GTA 6 and be fine with it. But I understand the complaints.
And I think it speaks to that collector's heart. Like, we all think back. You brought it up. I think I did too. Like, if we had the Pokemon cards we had as kids that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars now, and those, I remember I had Pokemon red, blue, and yellow all in the boxes, untouched, unopened, at extras. Oh. And, like, you imagine right now what I could probably get for those if I had them still. Like, God knows where they are. I'm sure our mom probably tossed them by mistake, thinking they're just like boxes, but like,
or garage sale for $5.
Yeah. So some kid probably got it. It's probably started Logan Paul's career. Probably found my cartridges. Now look at them. But yeah, it's just like, it's so crazy. And like, I was actually listening to the podcast the other day. I was talking with a guy that owns, it's called Main Event Games in Butler, Pennsylvania. So if, like, you're up here back our way one time, Dave, maybe we all just make like a little pilgrimage up there and go through their retro game store, and you know what I mean? That'd be kind of fun.
I love going in those places, but it's just,
I do too.
But then you'll see like Ocarina in Time for $100, And I'm like, man, I got kids. I can't justify this right now. But like, you want to own those things. So
there's something I can't remember. It's in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, again in Pennsylvania. But there's like a retro gaming convention, I believe, that has like a bunch of physical store and booth stuff. We got to let's look that up. Maybe that'll be like a nice little episode for us to take a boys trip to a retro gaming convention and look it over and talk about it and stuff. So that'd be fun. You know what? Probably want us to be a panel on there. You know how it is when we're
that's right.
When we're the big wigs around here getting those early access games. But
set up a table.
Right, exactly. There it is. That's what we should do. Now we're thinking. Now we're talking business, boys. Nick, before we jump into our next story, how are you feeling about this whole? I think you and I are kind of in the same boat. I know you are more of a collector than I am, so I know the physical media sings to you a little bit more. But how do you feel about kind of GTA kind of protecting itself, or maybe it's just tired of doing the physical thing?
Before I dip into that, there's something an announcement I want to make for all the people that are upset that they can't get this physical copy. Here at Grind and Game, we have our own physical copy that will be dropping and available on day one to all members. They're able to pick it up right here.
Is that what you were working on this whole time?
It's a box art.
That's pretty good.
You need to.
And inside it's 3, the original. I'm like, oh, we got you.
We are currently hiring a new producer on the show.
We've given him too much power, Dave. He betrayed us immediately.
No, but in all seriousness, man, like Dave said, I jumped ship, man. I'm not gonna go and buy physical copies anymore. I could pre-order it on the Xbox or on my station. It's ready to play. It starts downloading immediately.
Mm-hmm.
There's not even a GameStop. There's like one GameStop still surviving around me. So it's like, where would I go to pick this up? Walmart? I'm not going to go to Walmart, first thing in the morning to go pick up a hard copy of a game that I can literally just that night pre-order, in the morning download it, go do what I got to do around the house and come back and play it.
I will
say,
a quick note that you just reminded me of, and then you jump back in. But the game sharing on Xbox is the biggest factor. Like, we're playing Resident Evil 5. I bought it once for $20 digitally, and my wife can play it on her Xbox. You know what I mean? So like, if we wanted to buy the physical copy, we would only have one. We'd have to buy it twice. So like GTA, I'm going to buy it once. And since my gamer tag is also logged in on her Xbox, there's a little bit of a trick to that where you like make the home Xbox each other's. I know a lot of our listeners have done this, and you guys should do it too if you haven't in the past. But you could save a lot of money.
Dave. I don't do those things. How do you do it?
No, it's totally.
We should do that, Stan. Dave and I did it at one point. It is true.
Yeah.
You just share all your games.
Right.
Do you do a PlayStation?
I don't know if PlayStation has the feature, but on Xbox, so my Xbox is right here. But then in the settings, I made this is her home Xbox. And then on her Xbox, it's in the other room. It's my home Xbox, if that makes sense. So I'll buy Grand Theft Auto when it comes out. We only need one copy, and we can play it on both consoles at the same time, our own playthroughs, our own profiles. But if we were to go the physical route, we would have to both buy the disc. So essentially we save, half the money. And
it goes back to what we said about that. It seems like the convenience of it's better.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like all these not the realtors, like the big three are pushing us that way because it's probably easier for them because they're saving a bunch of money, not having to make a bunch of copies and shipping them to all these different stores and all that stuff. But also, like you just stated, you're saving a bunch of money you buy it one time. Your wife can both play them, and instead of buying double the amount. But again, it's that's what's more important to us, is saving that dime and being able to play the things and fit in our busy schedules. And some people really want to collect those cases. Back to Nick's point, so
Yeah,
it's always going to be that. It's same thing, PlayStation, Xbox, the same mind. Like, we're all different camps, and it's just, for me, it's just convenience over everything when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And then we'll regret it years from now when all those things are worth a ton of money because we just wanted to be digital, and no
I
one,
know.
you can't sell your hard drive and be like, hey, I got a hard drive with all the games. Like, get out of my face. Like, all right.
Right.
Anything
But yeah,
else on that, boys?
I cut you off, Nick. Continue your thought.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
had to
right.
get that out there because that is a huge factor in the digital versus physical thing. Is you have to pay double if you want
Yeah.
to play with.
It's a great point. I wasn't even thinking about that. That is true. But the thing is, I don't think that, if I read or heard what you're saying right too, they are going to drop discs, right? It's just going to be later.
Yeah, either a month after or early 27. So
Yeah, so I mean, like, look, if you're that diehard of a collector and you want a disc, I mean, you still got the option, and I think that would really be the only community that gets affected by a physical copy too much. It's not like it's off the table completely. Do I see a big title sooner or later actually saying, okay, we're not doing physical discs? Yeah, but it's just, I think it's a matter of time. There again, though,
I
I
also
mean,
don't see anyone waiting a month either. You know what I mean? You're going to be out of it's going to be ruined for you. Out of
yeah. But
well,
the
Even if they
collector
like
will
the
buy it
internet.
digitally and then go buy a disc. You know what I
well, to
mean?
Dave's point, then, like, you're buying it twice too, so they are getting their money. You make a good point. There's still a reason to do it. If, like you said, those collectors will do that. Like, hey, I'm not going to miss the conversation, and I want the physical copy.
Yeah.
So
If you're that hard up about it, you'll do it. It's just, look, I mean, it's true. This game has been probably the most anticipated game for a really long time. The last thing they want to do is send it out and it get freaking leaked bad. So I can't blame them. I think I just, you said there was a bunch of outrage. That just surprises me because I thought that 99% of people now have it digitally. Like, I went on a snowboarding trip recently, and one of my buddies brought his PlayStation, and he didn't bring a backpack full of all his games, right? They're just downloaded on the PlayStation. He just hooks it into the TV, and you could play a round or two or something. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it's the convenience. It makes sense.
Well,
But that's
that
it.
leads me into another question I have for you guys. That just made me think about this. Do you think is Grand Theft Auto, as you stated, probably one of the most anticipated games for the past 10 years at this point, right? It's been ridiculous. But with them maybe doing this digital only, and maybe they're not giving it to the access media, like we'll touch in right now with their next story, the reviews are already out, and we haven't even got a chance to even get hands on even early access. But do you think Grand Theft Auto's too big to even worry about reviews helping sell their game? Like, I mean, they will get reviewed, right? Don't get me wrong, but like, they don't need the early reviews and all that crap, right? I think, me personally, to your point, and I know you guys are more Grand Theft Auto guys than I am, I don't think they need it at all. Like, they're going to
It
sell
doesn't matter.
gangbusters and the reviews will come after. And even if a bad review hang for the game, you guys can't tell me, and I can't tell y'all, I still wouldn't get it to see for myself. You know what I mean?
The reviews will not stop that game at all. People are going to
big.
buy it the second it comes out. They're going to pre-order it. They're going to launch it day one, the second they can launch it. And it's a testament to, like, I mean, I've loved the Grand Theft Auto since San Andreas. They've all been fantastic. I see it's the same developer that we know not only does great Grand Theft Autos, they got Red Dead. They have a system down. They know how to make a game. They're not banking on these reviews, man. They're going to sling millions of copies the day it comes out.
They can't. It's too big to fail. I'll tell you this. My experience, Grand Theft Auto 5 originally came out on the 360. That was 2 console generations ago. So the game came out, and first, the only thing you could play was the single player campaign, which obviously dominated. But then GTA Online shipped, and that, everyone was so hyped for it. and it was totally ass when it launched. GTA Online, you could not even get into a game with your friends. I remember I was so hyped for it, and it was like a couple of weeks before you could even get into a game, and there was nothing to do. It was not how it is today. I mean, it's just grown so much over the last decade or so. Like, yeah, I mean, I was just reading recently that now you can go work as a firefighter or a forklift operator. You can work a normal job.
What?
You could just go work a normal job in GTA Online. But when it launched, it was terrible. It was worse than the launch of Highguard. But it didn't stop it. It's still been the highest grossing game in terms of revenue and all that stuff. Like, people still held on to hope, and sure enough, they worked out all those problems, and it just got better and better. Like, I'm telling you guys, it was so. You might have been there at the beginning with me, but I know I was at Camp Pendleton in California, and you could not do anything in GTA Online. There was like one mission where you could get $20,000, and that was like people were just farming it over and over and over, trying to like buy the best cars and stuff. But now, then they added the heists. They added these like drug running things. At one point, I know me and Nick were playing, and you could have like an underground bunker. Like, it just got so crazy to where they worked out the kinks. They figured out that GTA Online stuff. It is still like one of the most streamed titles. It's up there, with Fortnite and World of Warcraft, where people have just not stopped playing it for 10 years or more. And that just shows you like how rough the launch of GTA 5 or GTA Online was back in whatever that 2013, 2014. It didn't stop them. The train just kept rolling. So even if this game has like a rough launch, it won't. You cannot stop this. You cannot stop Rockstar. And it was the same thing. Red Dead Redemption 2, when the online dropped, they had so much to figure out. It was kind of like we jumped in and we're like, wait, what do you do? There's not that much going on in this. But they just kept building on it, adding more missions, adding more things. And I know Red Dead Online did not meet nearly the success of GTA Online, but I'm sure there's still people playing. Yeah, Rockstar. I mean, I know I said earlier every empire falls, but I don't know. It might not be in our lifetime with Rockstar.
No, and I don't think their issue is going to be. I think they're going to sell millions and millions of copies, right? And then after the fact, if it is not a good game, then we'll hear about it. And we'll probably, and that's going to be kind of the cool thing too. Be it great, be it bad, we'll all be in the conversation together. Which goes into our next news story where the Access Media has already gotten access to this game. It's for us, it's Dragon Quest VII Reimagined Eve. The game comes out at midnight tonight. We're recording on a Monday again. I'm super excited about this. It was one of my picks in the fantasy draft. It's one of the next games in our draft. The art style, the combat, it's like a warm blanket. It's so cool looking. I think it's a gorgeous looking game. The demo I played for 3 hours, adored every second of it. They have a new thing called moonlighting where you can do dual vocations, which are your typical like Final Fantasy jobs, which controls what abilities you have. You get a workup meter where you get kind of like builds you up into an ultimate. And like for a prime example, the main characters is called like I can't remember the exact name for like Ocean's Protection, basically. And like you're basically immune to attacks until it wears off, which is really awesome and clutch in a boss battle. And it's something I'm really looking forward to. This is a kind of a smaller news story, boys. I know, Nick, I know you were kind of thinking about jumping in with me because it kind of was like, kind of getting that spark. But it's like, this is your typical sense of adventure game that I cannot wait to play. And that's what it's all about. And I know you guys don't really like to go check every building because it has something in it, but this is one of those games. And the good thing is it's not like you'll miss an awesome sword or something. You'll just miss like a couple items and some gold and like a quick interaction with an NPC that's funny or not. You know what I mean? It's just, this is one of my blind spots as a gaming person for like my love for these turn-based games. I never played the original, which was like notorious for 100-hour runtime, and it took like when you first played, it took 4 hours before you got into the first fight apparently in the original one. And this one they streamlined in so many different ways. So I'm so excited to run into like this, I guess, an awesome remake of it. But the review scores are in for this game. It did not do what I thought it would do. It still does not hurt my excitement for it all. It just hurts my points. Apparently, Cairn is better than Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, according to critics. But
That's
beg to differ. Again, I didn't play Cairn, so I'm speaking at ignorance. But Nick's pulled up here for our listeners that are watching some scores that popped up. We're at 83 currently on Metacritic. Which, like, depending on, like you said, the people that love these games are the ones that review them. So if it didn't meet a lot of the expectations they were hoping for, I can understand that. I'm going into this, again, I'm not comparing it to any other, like, I'm not going to compare it to an Expedition 33. I'm not going to compare it to a Metaphor Fantasio. I'm just going to play it as it is presented to me. And for me, and I know you guys have seen, like, the style and everything like that, I'm just so excited to really dive deep into this game. I'll be playing it for sure tomorrow. Like, I got some chores in the morning, but I'm off, and I plan on getting home, taking the dogs for a long walk, making sure the wife's good, eating some lunch, and then I'm just settling down and putting some time into this thing. So I'll have a lot more to say next week. But without further ado, Nick, if you don't mind, you can kind of hit some of these reviews for us, and Dave kind of pick those reviews apart as they come. I mean, you can kind of bounce back and forth on that as Nick reads them to us.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and for the people that can't see it and they're just listening, I'll read off a couple of the really high reviews, and I'll read off because there's only 4 mixed, and I'll read off a couple of those mixed reviews as well. So we'll go into the first one here from Comic Book. Dragon Quest Reimagined is something special and one of Square, how do you say it? Enix? Square Enix's boldest remakes. It acknowledges the game's classic roots while embracing modern game design through nearly every system. It is visually stunning, emotionally resonant, mechanically deep, and overflowing with charm. More importantly, it captures the joy of discovery that made classic JRPGs magical in the first place. Dragon Quest is a masterpiece that deserves to be in the hands of every RPG fan out there, and I hope that this is the foundation on which Square Enix builds future remakes. That is a very, very positive review.
And that's how everyone's review should have been, and we could have a nice, better conversation right now. But again, and I'm obviously at this point, it doesn't matter because what the points are, what they are. But that's how I truly felt as I was playing it. I'm like, dude, I would love, instead of just doing like these 2D, like their normal like remake where you just kind of up-res and stuff, like kind of put your own twist on it, man. Like this, I don't know how if you guys know, they made dolls, like the characters, and then they put those dolls into the game. That's why you could see like the clothing has like a texture to it and stuff. Like that's passion, really cool, man. That's passion.
Yeah, a lot of care.
So we'll get into the next one here. It's a score of 90 from Console Creatures. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined delivers an exceptional game, one of which excels in its storytelling and personable cast. While it wasn't my favorite game in the series before the remake, it has quickly jumped into the top 3. So there we go, though. That's people reminiscing on the older games and looking and comparing it right off the bat with what we talked about with these series. So we'll see what else he has to say, though. There are so many small details that make this version the one you have to play, from the reworked script and the revised score to the incredible cast guiding us across a world's fragmented past. By piercing, or he went to write, I just read it wrong. By piecing together the thread of this world, one island at a time, you learn more about the inhabitants and how each contrasts to the others meaningfully. Combine that with a shift from round-based battles to turn-based, and the control you're given to make the right choices warrants the profound changes this game has undergone. Why is it a 90? That sounds like another 100 score, other than it just wasn't his favorite of the series.
And that's the thing, I think. There's so many strong Dragon Quest games, especially the newest one that dropped. I say new now, Dragon Quest 11. It's been, I can't remember how many years. Everyone's waiting for 12. It's kind of like this typical, it's just like the Elder Scrolls version of that, where it's like, we really want the new one. remasters are nice, maybe, but like again, this goes above for me a remaster. It's a reimagining, as it's stated in the title. Like, look at this thing. You know what I mean? Again, I'm a little more passionate about it. Maybe my tune changes after I really dive deep into it, but yeah, I again, like you read some of these reviews and you're like, dude, that sounds like a 10 to me. Like, I guess we just don't understand how it goes, but I would love, yeah, Nick, I see that you have the mixed coming up. The IGN one, I didn't, that, go ahead, read
Yeah.
it. I got some thoughts.
So IGN right off the top, the masters of judging whether a game's good or not, says Dragon Quest VII Reimagined delivers a better paced version of the 26-year-old classic while retaining its signature charm, but it also goes too far with some of its changes, sanding down the experience for newer players at the expense of the challenge and discovery I expect from the series.
So what frustrates me about that, he says the challenge, right? In the settings, you can turn this game any way you want. For accessibility, you can make it as difficult as you want it to be. You can crank up, you can make your attacks weaker, you can make the enemies hit harder, you can change health, you can do all those things if you want to do it. Saying sanding down the experience, again, you're comparing it. Yeah, it has a source material, right? But this is a complete reimagining of something, and it's trying to sell it to a broader audience. I think that I think a 7 was a very safe give, is what I think. I think that you didn't, and again, you guys, they're professionals, they know more than I do, but I've been gaming for a better part of my life, and I say this, like, that doesn't deserve a 7 to me. It seems like you really enjoyed the game, but you nitpicked, and a nitpick does not bring you down 3 points, in my opinion. I think a nitpick maybe down to, I think an 8 would have been made more sense. When I read there, that's an 8, but Dave, am I just amped up because this is my pick, or what are we thinking?
No, I was like shaking my head, but I was agreeing with you, like shaking my head towards IGN, basically, because it is like, it's like, come on, like, did you enjoy it or not? Is it bringing new players in or not? Like, that would be, so like me, like a diehard Halo fan, and just being like, well, now newer players don't experience how shitty it was to play on the original Xbox. And like, you get, it's like, if it's bringing people in, like, so I'll give my point of view with you've been sharing some stuff with us in the group chat for Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and I'm looking at this game and I'm like, wow, this looks awesome. Like, I am just being a totally new player that's never hit the Dragon Quest series, it would pull me in, and isn't that a good thing? So, like we touched on it earlier in the episode, like negativity gets the clicks, jump on the bandwagon, and find something bad to say about a game, and people are gonna watch your videos and read your, IGN doesn't like it, so what? It's like, who cares what they think? It gets to a point, these companies are so far out of the real world, and I look at a game as a busy father and husband, and it's like, is this game going to bring me joy? Is it going to be fun? Like, it gets at least an 8 if it hits those marks. Like, some of these games, giving it a 6 or a 7, it's nitpicking. I think you used that word already, but it's like, come on, like, new players are going to play this series. Like, that's a good thing. Why score that low?
Yeah, and Nick, I would before you go, Nick, the last one I'd read is that 60, because I am curious at being the lowest one, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into that 60. The only thing I'd say about this one is it's just strange. Like, you said, the challenge, if you want to amp up the challenge, you can. Discovery, some of the biggest, the highest rated reviews were about this island hopping, it sounds like, and what you said about going in and talking to different NPCs and having little quests. I mean, that sounds like Discovery to me. So I don't know. We'll see.
There's like optional islands too. Like, you don't have to. It's one of those games where you might not experience the whole thing if you just do the golden path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm a little bit more like, if the guys know if this is one of your picks too, and I'm just a huge Dragon. I love like JRPGs. It's just I'm a little more. I'm about to go hit the gym after this. They're getting me all worked up listening to these things.
Well, this one will too. It's a 60 from Critical Hits. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined attempts to modernize one of the franchise's most popular entries by revamping its visuals, refining its systems, and preserving the essence of the original, but ultimately runs into some serious pacing and structural issues. The initial journey presents an interesting premise, with time travel to the past to restore islands and resolve conflicts. Yet the game repeats this formula for dozens of hours with little real progression of the main story and almost non-existent development of both the characters and the villain.
So with that kind of criticism, that score makes sense. So that's what I appreciate. If that's how you truly feel, then that 60 makes sense.
Yeah.
If that, I mean, I disagree with it from what I've played, but again, I only played the demo, and maybe I will feel like I'll feel like Critical Hits when I get to a certain point in the game. But also, what I don't appreciate about that, and granted, this is a reimagine of an older game. That's kind of a spoiler. That's kind of part of the fun there, is talking about the time travel aspect of it. Like when I did that for the first island and I realized that's kind of what's happening, I was like, oh, that's really fucking cool. So I'm a little upset that they're throwing that into a review.
Yeah.
That's without a spoiler warning, but that's,
I didn't know that, but
I'll say this, boys. In 100 years, nobody's going to be talking about Critical Hits or remember their name. But in 100 years, people are going to remember CT Full Metal, and they're going to remember this podcast. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I hear the review that you give us, Chris, and you let us know how this game. Are you going to stay up and play? Are you going to play a little bit at midnight tonight?
Part of me wants to, but that's probably the bad decision because I got an appointment at 7:40 tomorrow morning. So, but yes, I am. I will play entirely until 7:00 and show it to my Plymouth bags down to here. Like, what is it?
No,
I'm like,
but
I
you
proved Critical Hits wrong.
What you described is sounds like a pretty perfect template for the day. You get some stuff done around the house. You walk the dogs. You have some lunch with the wife. And then it's guilt-free gaming. And that's what we've talked about on previous episodes, is like that feeling of, we're not teenagers anymore. And sad that we're not in our 20s anymore. It's, we gotta focus on the responsibilities first. And then those games just hit that much harder. Like me and my wife been grinding all day, knock out this podcast. We're probably going to do like 2 chapters of Resident Evil tonight. And they're going to hit.
That's awesome.
Perfectly. But if I had woke up this morning and just started playing Resident Evil, like what kind of man would I be? You got to earn it.
Yeah, you do feel that guilt, like if you just hop straight in, you're like, man, I still need to go lift. I still got to go groceries. It's it's just so much. It's so much more rewarding, and it gets my full attention. My mind is in 8 different places either when I'm like, I can solely focus on the task at hand, which is getting through this game. I've been super excited to drop ever since it got on my radar. You know what I mean? Even before, like, we did this podcast, we did the draft and everything. I saw it and I was like, dude. And also, like, a little bit of a quick tangent as we're wrapping up here, but Akira Toriyama is the artist behind this. And if for those that don't know, he's the artist behind Dragon Ball Z. So that's why if you notice those characters, like if you look at their traditional like anime style, look like Dragon Ball characters. And Akira Toriyama passed away a few years ago. So it's just like, it's kind of, it's respecting his legacy. So the game is a little bit more to me than that. Cause we see famous people pass away all the time. This one hurt a lot for me. Like you can ask Eliana, like it messed up my whole day because I was like, dude, this guy for my entire childhood, Dragon Ball was like a thing. And you can ask Nick. He got me this awesome painting that hangs up in my office at work of Goku and the dragon. It's like, I say all that to say like that's the reason why these games get me excited. Like I'm like, dude, look at that, man. Like it's this. They're doing a twist on his art, but they're respecting it by the way they're doing it. And again, but all that being said and done, I might be at a 60. You know what I mean? Or I might be at 100. Who knows how I feel about it? I do wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to these games, and I'll probably, you know what I mean? So I'll either, and I love hard. You guys will realize that as we continue this podcast when it comes to games and stuff. And like, but like, I'm just excited, man. Like I watched, he had an anime come out. It was Dragon Quest Die. and it was like all Toriyama and all that art. And it's just like when you can relate it to something you truly love, like how much I love Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and that whole universe and Super. It's just sick. Like, look at that, man. Like for the audience that's listening right now, we're playing a little bit of the Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, the first hour gameplay PS Pro. We're not going to show the gameplay. We're just showing like the initial trailer just to show off the art a little bit.
Yeah,
it's just like look at the clothing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's like you can see like where they pull like the dart and stuff. Yeah, you can fast forward a little bit and like a little storyline there. And that's like in game. Yeah. So it's just like I'm truly excited about it. I'm excited to give my take on it, Dave, and I appreciate that. CT Full Metal will give his full, not talking to the third person, and like I did that. But I will be giving like my first impressions next week. Well, a week of impressions, and we've been talking, the boys and I. Maybe I'll do like a quick review short for us as well as we're continuing to build the channel, and eventually would love to get it when we're playing games like this, do full spoiler cast and talk about that, but we'll get to that point one day. But yeah, right here. So what you see there is a vicious monster, guys. They're a little bit different than normal monsters. And as you fight them and they're hard fights, you get their souls and you can equip it to your character. And you get like a based ability based off the soul of that enemy. Like maybe your critical hits hit twice as hard and stuff like that. So for our listeners, it's just showing a little bit more gameplay. And as you see, your basic turn-based attacks.
I love a turn-based game
and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick this up. I could tell you, I'll have some talking points on it as well.
And I think I told Nick this too, Dave. Like you can, like this is perfect for the kids. The kids will love looking at this, especially Jackson. And then like Nick can step away, hand him the controller, adjust the settings like I said you could, and he could just run around, not ruin his game at all, and help him. Actually, he could be like grinding out some levels for him. Nick comes back, he's like 20 levels stronger, just mollywops the next part of the game because he's entirely over leveled. But it's like, yeah, this isn't like an epic Final Fantasy VII Requiem and stuff, but like, look, I mean, it's just cozy, dude. It's something I need right now too, which I'm really excited to get down in.
No, it's great, man. We talked about our origins of gaming, and for me, first game ever, turn-based, Pokemon Red. There's something nice about that slower pace. You're not button mashing. You're not like we've just both come off of here, I'm gonna pull this down, but we've both just come off of Mio, where it's like, dude, I was playing some earlier because I'm still trying to finish Mio. Or no, was it I think it was yesterday I was playing, and my wife came in the room to like tell me something, and I'm just sitting there like trying to get through one of the platforming sections, and I was like trying to find that balance where I was like, wait, no, I want to talk to you, but like I can't, like I have to beat this. It's so intense. But a game like this is just so relaxing. You could be laid back on the couch, like you mentioned, even if kids are running around and you want to play for 30 minutes, and they can look at the TV and be like, wow, this is cool. And they don't know what's going on. But the little ones that we have right now, they won't know what's going on. But
somebody have to worry about them seeing either. You know what I mean? It's just like little guys fighting a monster with no blood or anything. You know what I mean? It's and like when I first played that demo, dude, like I was just coming off of an extremely busy season of life. And it was like, I sat there and I was like, oh, this is nice. It reminded me, again, going back to those old school gaming times when you're a kid with no worries. That's how it felt. It was just like, I don't know. I think that's why I'm so passionate about those reviews and stuff. Besides the points, if Nick would have picked this up or you would have picked it up, I'd have been feeling the same way. I'm like, what do you, because I know no one would have counterpicked it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy to think it would have been a better counter pick than Cairn, which is wild. But I paid the piper, boys. I paid the piper. But boys, before we wrap this whole thing up, looking at a little bit more gameplay here.
I just had it looks so cool. I'm like watching it on the other tab, and so I got to give people something to look at too. Build, that's one of the things with this show. We want to build the hype for these games too. We're basically giving them all a free advertisement because, like we talked about earlier, we want these games to succeed. We want people to have fun. I've got one question about this game though before we move on. I was reading that, and I think you've talked about it earlier too, that it's a long game, right? That it was potentially known for like 100 to 120 hours to complete it. Is that accurate?
the originals, like I said, I never really played Dragon Quest VII, the original. I played other Dragon Quest games, but I do remember that, reading that. And yes, you're right. It's notorious for its length. And like the one thing that I did send was a gaming addict. He reviewed the game and said he took him 60 hours. And what I assume with him, I've seen some of his content before, he did everything you could possibly do. So if I had to guess, this is probably your typical JRPG 40 to 50 hours. Probably less, probably 40 hours. And then if you do everything, 60 hours. But to your point, it was double that in the original. So that's where that IGN review kind of brought it down. They made it digestible because, like, if I told you 100 hours, Nick's probably like, maybe.
Dude, when I was thinking, I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna pick it up if it's 100 hours because I'm not gonna finish it.
Now it's digestible and easy, not easy to finish, but easier to finish. And if you start getting in a lull, you can adjust the settings so it's quicker for you to wrap it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So just respects your time. I like that.
Yeah, that is that's a tough thing. It goes back to a lot of the themes we discussed. Different camps of gamers right now, where some people, if I was in high school and I heard a game was going to be 120 hours and awesome. I'm coming up summer breaks in a few months, it's like, dude, let's go. But in this phase of life and with how many titles we're trying to work through this year, that is relieving. That's nice that they pulled back maybe some of the fluff and just give you the main portions and make 60 hours is still a lot, but you get your money's worth that way. You want to have something that you can play for a couple of months. With us right now, you get these 2 or 3 hour sessions at a time. It is kind of nice, spend $60 or $70 even. I don't know. Is this game going to be less? I guess we could look up the price and stuff like that, but I don't know.
I think it was $40. It was $40 and then 60 for the deluxe, which I got, so I get the early access, and you get like some
even better,
too.
Dude. Yeah, $40. $40 if you get 60 hours of entertainment. Like, video games will always be, I think, the best value in entertainment. You spend
best bang for your buck.
$30 going to a movie.
Yeah,
and then it sucks, and then you're like,
yeah.
Well, more expensive for you all because now you got to go. For me, it's just me and the wife, but now it's wife, kids. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine that bill jumps up, but let's not get to that. That was another 30 minutes talking about the movie industry. But
yeah.
But boys, we touched on a lot, hit the news stories. As before we hit this wrap up, I just want to, for me personally, for what I got going on the rest of the day and saying goodbye to the audience, but I haven't eaten because we hopped on a little earlier today. So I got some steak. I made some New York strips the other day. The strips were fantastic. And then last night, Nick heard me eating as we were getting on Highguard, just slopping in his ear. I mean, she made Philly cheesesteaks with them, what was left of them. And then I have one full
one, like an animal.
Yes, and then I have one full one left that she is chopping up currently right now, and we're making steak. I'm making a couple steak wraps with that, steak Caesar wraps. So getting the Caesar salad in there and then putting the steak in there and just gonna crush that at 9:00 at night like a monster, which is great. But and then maybe see what time it is. Maybe jump in. No, it's a dangerous game. If I jump in tonight, it'll be all my sleep gone. But Nick, what you got going on the rest of the day? I know it's getting later, so I know you're probably prepping for bed. Anything else though?
Yeah, I mean, luckily we got on a little bit earlier. Probably watch a little bit of a show with my wife, hang out with her, help her clean up the house a little bit now that the kids are in bed, and then I've been doing a lot of reading lately. It's just a nice way to wind down at the end of the day if I don't want to hop into a game. Especially 76. I thought about it, but I hop into that. I'll end up doing a couple events and messing with my camp and all that good stuff. And before I know it, it'll be midnight. So I'll probably just have an easy night. Like I said, wrap some things up, get prepped for bed. And yeah, man, I'm excited for the showcase on the 12th. It's something to look forward to. And yeah, I'm going to download Dragon Quest on the 5th and play that. So looking forward to that, especially $40. I didn't know that, but I love when, these games are, not everything has to be 60 or 70. It makes it much more approachable, especially if it's something that I'm not super hyped for. So yeah.
Awesome. Dave?
Yeah, similar route. Gotta go eat something. This is more behind the scenes for the listeners, but we jumped on a little earlier tonight so that hopefully we'll be more fresh and not as tired as previous episodes. But that also meant we kind of skipped over dinner. And so I'm going to go eat something and maybe see about a little jazz cigarette out in the backyard. And he's got an empty plate.
Yeah, someone didn't skip dinner. He turned his camera off and started showing us pictures while he was slopping down a whole lasagna.
That's so good.
I don't blame him.
Hey, I'll give him props. It was a working dinner. He was pulling up pictures and videos for us while we were talking. So
just saucy fingers too.
Yeah,
probably,
not
right?
bad.
That's awesome.
But yeah, more Resident Evil. Couple Resident Evil missions tonight. Dragon Quest looks and sounds awesome. I think I'm gonna jump into that, and when it drops, because side note, I was showing it to my wife too, some of the gameplay footage, and she was like, "Oh, it looks like or it seems very similar to a lot of Final Fantasy." Comparisons to the turn-based and the exploration and things like that. So we might be playing a little bit of that in this household. I was a little bit deterred by the length just because of how much other stuff is coming out. But hearing that they shrunk it down, I'm like, oh man, I might have to give it a go.
That excites me that both of you guys might be jumping into this thing. That's really cool. That gives us a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, boys, thank you both. Next week, we're going to go into 100% into predictions mode, as well as all of our hands-on impressions of Dragon Quest. We have a leaked list of state of play that we're going to go tell you guys exactly what we need to see from Wolverine, Kingdom Hearts 4, whatever they may have in their pocket. We'll be going over that entire leaked list and building up our predictions for that state of play. We also will plan on probably doing a review like we did for the Xbox state of play too, but we'll go kind of touch more about that next week. We'll see if Sony shows up big in 2026 roadmap is getting a little bit more beefier than it already is, which is crazy to think about, but we cannot wait, and we hope to see you guys next week for the ultimate pre-show breakdown for that state of play and much more. Thank you all. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, and always remember, keep grinding, keep gaming. We'll see you next week. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.
Good night.